What a weekend of college football. Monday is here. We've got a lot to talk about, and I'm very happy you're all with me. Coach Sean, always happy to see you. How are you, my man?
I'm good, man. Enjoyed this day off. I'm good. Shout out to all the veterans out there. We
Yeah,
appreciate
absolutely.
you. Um, Blessed, man. Blessed. Never stress. Ready to get into it.
And there's a lot for us to get into, right? I think what we'll probably do, Coach, because we usually talk Alabama. We get long-winded when we talk Bama. So I kind of want to go through some other topics before we get to Bama. That way we're not pressed for time, right? And I think the way I'd like to start, well, you know what? Dealer's choice. I'll give it to you. Do we want to talk about the heartbreaking loss that Oklahoma sustained? Or do we want to talk about Ole Miss beating Georgia first? What are you thinking?
Ole Miss.
Let's
I
roll.
think. For me, man, if I had to start off with that, Ole Miss is a dangerous ass team, man. They're a dangerous team because they so up and down. Always good. Always good. But that game set up so well for LSU, for Georgia to lose. It was at the Grove, rainy, right? Carson Beck act like he was afraid to hold the damn football. I mean, every time Georgia got a first down and got something going, he fumbled a dadgum thing. Everything set up for Lane Kiffin in that game. Everything set up for Lane to win that game, and I figured they was gonna get it, man. But here's the deal. And I'm not disrespecting Ole Miss, man, because they have an awesome offensive team. Their defense is playing lights out. Pete Golding is actually doing some wonderful things. Yeah, believe it or not. Um, I honestly believe, dog, and it's just me. It's just me, bro, because I know Georgia. You could play that game three more times in dry weather, and I hate to blame the weather. And I'm not blaming the weather. I'm not blaming the weather. Take away the I don't think they can beat Georgia consistently. I just don't think they can. All the stars and moons aligned, just like Vandy, for that game. At the Grove, Jackson Dart goes out, third string, second string, whatever the string quarterback that guy was, came in and it looked like he was better than Jackson Dart.
Honestly,
Um,
Austin Simmons is going to be a problem.
Problem, man. So it's like, man, I don't know, but you got to give credit what credit's due. Ole Miss played the game. They whipped Georgia. They beat them straight up. They caused turnovers. They played great defense. They hit Carson Beck. They attacked them on their corners. They played foundational football on offense, and they done what they were supposed to do. And the game actually could have been worse. It could have been worse, man. Right? So you got to give Ole Miss all the credit.
You know, I'm I'm fascinated by this, Coach. Jackson Dart goes down. Austin Simmons comes in. I have bad news for everybody. Dart's a really good quarterback.
Yeah.
I think this kid might have a higher ceiling than Jackson Dart, right? And I like Jackson Dart, but this kid's good. Kid came in, and you can tell he's good because Lane Kiffin's game plan didn't change at all whenever that kid came in. I mean, he was still being aggressive, still throwing the ball downfield, and the kid was throwing heat. I mean, he was out there really. Now, one of the things, Coach, that's fascinating, he was a kid that reclassified. If
Okay.
I'm not
Okay.
mistaken, he's a really good baseball player, had reclassified. And if you're an Ole Miss fan, you need to be excited about his future. Now, one of the things you talked about, Coach Sean, that I have a question for you, Pete Golding. I know, Alabama fans everywhere, you just had the shiver run down your spine. Don't, don't, don't lie, because it happened to me too. But here's my question. Pete Golding was almost trying to build upon Saban's defense with some of the intricacies of his own defense, and it didn't work. Could it be that those two defensive philosophies just never married, and Pete Golding himself can be a good, I'm not saying great, I'm not saying top two or three defense, but can be a good defensive coordinator when he's able to do his own thing? And that's not a shot at Saban's defense. Saban's defense is goated. But you talk about this all the time, and as a former player, I want to get your take on this. How important is marrying philosophies within a coaching staff for success? And I ask that with Pete Golding in mind.
And it's extremely important. I'll be the one to say it because if you know what you're watching, it shows that the stuff they're doing on defense, we didn't do at Alabama. A lot of those even man fronts, unless we were going nickel, we didn't do those. We didn't twist like that. We didn't do that stuff on defense at Alabama, man. We was a gap scheme team, period, point blank. So that tell you that that's really Pete's identity, full identity, right? Everybody knows when you come to Alabama, offensive coordinators included, under Coach Saban, you ran his stuff. Everybody know that. When you see what they're doing on defense, blitzing the same gap and things of that nature, we never done that at Alabama, man. We didn't do that. So that smaller defensive, quicker defensive lineman, that's all Pete Golding, man. And I won't take that from him because they're playing well. When you look at what they're doing, a lot of those things we didn't consistently do at Alabama. And they tell you that's just Golding. That's just Golding putting his spin on it, and it's working. You got to give credit what credit's due, no matter how bad it hurt. It's working, bro. It's working, and you got to give them the credit for that, man. A lot of times when people are people are more comfortable in their scheme. I mean, you're not going to bring Lane Kiffin in to run stretch zone. No, a pit. He run the pistol. Let's say a power I veer wing T. I mean, that's just not what they do. That's not what they do. Every coach is very comfortable in what they know. Sure, they pick up things from other coaches. Coaches is a copying game. We copy each other. We pull from each other. We pull plays and schemes from each other, concepts from each other. But when you look at what Ole Miss is doing on defense, that's all Pete Golding, man. You got to give him his credit. There's a lot of different things they're doing that we've done here at Alabama, and you got to give him his credit for that, man. And that's just the truth. And before you say what, you got to know what you're watching. If you don't know what you're watching, please don't think that way. If you see what Ole Miss is doing compared to what we've done in the past with personnel, with where he lined people up at, with how they're running their blitz packages, with how they stunting, we weren't consistent in doing those kinds of things at Alabama.
You know the funny thing about that, and I've said this story multiple times. My old roommate played for Pete Golding whenever Pete Golding was the DC at UTSA. Yeah, University of Texas San Antonio. My old roommate was a cornerback for him. And whenever he got hired by Alabama, I'll never forget, PJ was like super excited for me. He's like, man, I was under Pete Golding, like great coach, real smart guy. I think he's going to do well at Bama. But he wasn't super versed into Nick Saban's defense, right? So about a year or two into it, we were sitting there watching, and he goes, I still love Golding. He said, I just don't know if these systems are marrying well. And when I've listened to other people talk, that has been something I've heard, right? That some people who were really puzzled whenever Nick Saban hired Pete Golding wasn't because they didn't think Pete Golding was a good defensive coach. They didn't think that that defense would marry with the Saban philosophy very well. And
No.
Tough as Nails says Smart and Pruitt were not intimidated by Saban. I don't know that if it's an intimidation thing, Tough. I think it's more of Smart and Pruitt's defensive philosophies align better with Saban's defense so that, well, Smart was taught by Saban, but like Pruitt, for instance, right? Like the things he wants to add in, he could add in to what Bama wants to do and be perfectly fine with it, right?
Right.
It marries real well. I just don't know that Golding was that way because Golding's defense to me, even at this point, I don't want to say experimental because that's like a disrespectful connotation. You get what I mean when I say that? Like saying experimental, I think is minimizing what he's been able to do this year.
Yeah.
But it's very new age. That's a good way to put it. His defense is very new age. Um, and good win for them. Darius, my man, I know you're a Georgia fan. He says, I'm sick. My Georgia Bulldogs let Lane Kiffin finally win a big game. Well, Darius, you're sick. I'm sick. I'm going to get cooked on
See
Friday.
now.
I'm going to get absolutely cooked on Friday on the Bleacher Report show because myself, Steven with Fanatics Perspective, Unfair Sports Jay, and Nino Sport Corner Nino, we were all saying Lane's not winning this game because Lane can't win the big game. And he went out and won the big game. Now, I think Georgia's still a really good team, Coach, but there are glaring holes with this Georgia team. I hate to say this. I don't like throwing salt on wounds, especially players. Carson Beck's not a first-round quarterback. Am I wrong there? Do you disagree? When I look at Carson Beck, I'm like, there's no way you're a first-round quarterback.
I see Carson. The biggest weakness I see in Carson Beck is when the rush comes, this kid takes his eyes completely away from downfield. He's actually playing worse to me this year than he did last year. Last year, when you blitz Carson, Carson could kill you in certain ways, man. But I'm gonna tell you now, when the blitz comes, he completely loses sight of downfield and start looking at the blitz and just throw the football. Carson has turned the football over in situations where Georgia had open receivers. I mean, the film don't lie, the game don't lie. What's up, Brinsky? Shout out to the brother
Yeah,
Brinsky.
Brinsky, where are
Clason.
you at, man? Because you called this game. All off
Brinsky.
season, Brinsky called this.
He did. Brinsky Damas. I call him Nostradamus. Brinsky Damas, because he
So
called it, bro.
we need you in here to take your victory lap, man. I'm fairly certain I sent you. I know I sent you a link.
Yeah,
So
because Brinsky's on there.
yeah,
I'll tell Darius this. Darius, when I watch Carson, I really watched him too, man. Carson is starting to look at the blitz. I'm not sure if it's an offensive line issue that's causing him. Shout out to Lynn too, my brother Lynn Shanefeld. Um, Carson is definitely focusing. If you watch him, just really watch him, Darius, his eyes will come down to the blitz. You know what I mean? He's doing the same things that reminds me of what Clemson's quarterback was doing early in the season. Like the blitz will come, and instead of him stepping up in the pocket, his eyes will come down and look at the blitz. And then he'll try to find the receiver and throw it again. And that's just not how it works. I definitely think those things are correctable. They are correctable, but if you're asking me right now, today, it'd be hard for me to take that brother in the first round. Not when you got people like Cam Ward who staring the blitz in the face and just firing that thing, man. He don't give a damn. They bearing down on him. He's mobile to get out of the pocket. It's almost like Carson don't want to run anymore. I don't know, man. I just don't know. And then what's crazy thing about it is they got Jalen Rashada on the bench over there, man. And his first name Jalen. Is it Jalen Rashada?
yeah, Jaden.
Jaden Rashada. And that kid's a monster. So shout out to Travis Panil too. Um, Janet, my girl Janet. So for me, man, I don't know if it's Carson feeling him. I don't know what the reasons are, but he's definitely not playing well right now. To me, Georgia has more holes than that, but I will say Georgia is one of those teams. They have an outstanding coach, possibly the best coach in the country. He's the best motivator in the country with Coach Saban gone. I expect Georgia to come out like a pack of wild dogs Saturday and dump truck Tennessee. You heard it here first. Last time I told you that, they dump truck Texas. Kirby is the one thing I give Georgia is, regardless of what you want to say about Georgia, them not being it, Georgia is possibly the most well coached. Now hear what I'm saying. You don't always play the best, but Georgia is possibly the most well coached team in the country. What I mean by that is that team responds well to adversity. They respond well to their coach, right? Shout out to Darius. What's up, Darius? I appreciate you, my brother. um Georgia is well coached, man. They don't make the same mistakes over and over and over, in the course of a series, right? That team don't really beat themselves. Now that quarterback went out and had a horrible, horrible game, turned the ball over, right? And remember, Carson Beck gave Ole Miss the ball in plus territory about 3 times, bro. So I don't give a damn if you're playing Alkaline High School, Alkaline Water High School, right?
Yo.
You keep giving them the ball in plus territory, we're going to put belt to your ass. You know what I mean? So, you just can't. Georgia will respond. If you know anything about football, brother, history will show you that this team will respond. They just like Bama. They're not used to losing. Their fans ain't used to losing. You better believe them kids in the film study right now. I'm telling you this. They gonna dump truck Tennessee. They gonna dump truck them, bro.
You know,
Trust me.
Coach, I think you make a great point about Carson taking his eyes off downfield and
Yes.
not seeing the blitz, or just not seeing it. Say what you want about like Milroe holding the ball too long. He will get beat by a blitz because he's staying downfield, right? Like his vision is downfield. Or I'll tell you who was great at this is Bryce Young. They'd blitz him and he would just move out the pocket, eyes glued downfield. I mean, Bryce, there's a reason why Coach, I never got to ask you this question. But whenever I would be streaming with Jance, I'd always ask Jance, have you ever seen Harry Houdini and Bryce Young in the same room? Coincidence?
Yes.
I think not. The guy's a
I've not.
wizard.
Super wizard.
A
Yeah.
wizard when he's getting blitzed. But there's another problem. Yeah, Eric, poison the pot. That's the thing. Like that's why I've been so high on Milroe, no matter what, because I'm like the things that you can complain about with Milroe are very fixable.
Mhm.
Like there's nothing I've seen from Milroe where it's just like I don't think you can fix this. I just haven't, right? But here's my big for lack of a better word issue with Carson Beck. Because you're right, Coach. This year, his eyes is on the blitz, and it's getting him killed. But do you want to know what? And maybe I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, I've always told you, tell me I'm wrong. I'd rather be wrong and us have the kind of the debate here about it, because then everybody comes away with better information than you save my feelings and agree. Okay, so to me, the bigger issue with Carson Beck is how he struggles when he's not getting blitzed. And what I mean is whenever a team will show him blitz and then drop out, and he'll just throw it right to where a guy is. And interceptions after interceptions because he's not proving to be good at reading the defense post-snap. That, if I was a Georgia fan, scares me because in the NFL, if you think they're doing that in college, it's a whole nother level in the NFL and showing you something and then doing something else post-snap. To me, that's what just terrifies me with Carson Beck because it's not going to get easier. It's only going to get harder.
Mm-hmm.
And Ole Miss did a good job of this. Bama, the first half of that game, Bama did to Carson Beck what Bama just did to Nuss. They showed an analogous formation. I'm not saying it was the same formation, but a very similar formation time after time after time. But they did several different things out of that formation. And so Beck and then Nussmeier were confused. They didn't know what was coming. And Bama dropped 3 interceptions in that game.
Yeah.
Carson Beck has become a really interesting quarterback to watch this year. But when I've seen the first round mocks, I hate to say it, he's not a first rounder. Now, someone had a great point here. Lynn's 100% right. Welcome to all our veterans. Thank you for your service. We all must know freedom is free, and some gave, and others gave all. Thank you. 100%, Lynn. 100%. Thank you to any and all veterans out there. Someone asked a great question, and I wanted to put it up here. They asked, tough as nails, was not retaining Raiola a mistake? Yeah.
Let me say this. Oh, shout out to Mr. Renrico, my broski right there, man. Got a chance to meet Renrico at A-Day. Much love
That's
to Renrico,
awesome.
man. Much love to Mr. Renrico, brother. I'll tell you something else I've seen with Carson too, man. And Darius, if I'm wrong, you guys tell me. It seems like Carson is forcing things as well. There's several times he has tight ends open underneath. He won't take it. He want to go downfield. And I get it, man. When you're the young hot shot quarterback, expectations. Garrett Nussmeier is guilty of the same thing. You try to make all the big throws. I got to make this big throw. You tend in your mind to want to pad stats when you don't really have to do that. I will say this too. Mike Bobo has not really supported Carson Beck a lot either. Um, I'm very shocked that Georgia has threw the ball as much as they have. You know what I'm saying? It's like Georgia, and it's not like they can't run the ball. When I see Georgia running the ball, they're usually pretty successful. They still getting 4 yards, 3 yards, 2 yards, 6 yards, 7 yards, 4 yards, 2 yards. Georgia, it's just like they move away from the run and they start getting passy, 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 passy.
I love when you do that.
We understand our secondary was young when we played Georgia. What's up, Coach Jay? Much love to my brother,
What's
Coach
up?
Jay.
What's up? What's up?
You got it, bro. I understand that Georgia, we had a young secondary, but to see Georgia leave their game script like they done, Briskadamas is in the house, right? To see these guys abandon what made them great so many years is very weird to me, right? Georgia was the most solid team of knowing who they were to me. These guys, 3rd and 2, everybody knew they was gonna run the ball. They don't care. They're gonna run it anyway. It's like they don't do that now. Now they want to be passy, passy, passy. And I don't understand. It's putting Carson Beck in situations that I think he's failing. His eyes are dropping. He's not looking downfield a lot. And when he do, he focuses on one receiver and he's letting that thing go. In the game against us, from hike, he looked at the same guy, the guy that Xavier Brown was covering. He was gonna throw it there from the giddy up. Xavier looked back, he was ready. The guy didn't look off anybody. He didn't look off Xavier. He was going to throw it there, and that's what it was. And those are very lazy traits that I think he's gained from last year. And Bobo could be better too. Bobo could be better too, man, with pass run ratio.
Yeah, 100%. Brinsky, you called this.
Richie Damas.
So I want to give you the floor, and then Jance, obviously. Gotta let you have the last word on this one.
Oh yeah, man. The one thing. Well, first off, what's going on with you
What's up,
guys?
man?
And happy Veterans Day to everybody in the chat.
Facts.
As a veteran,
Yes, sir.
appreciate your service. And man, it was just the guys that I seen that Lane Kiffin was getting out the transfer portal, and it was like major needs, and the guys that Georgia was losing. I didn't think their offensive line was that tough. Going to be that tough, and I knew with them getting Walter Nolan, he was going to be a bit disruptive, and they was getting a lot of guys on that line. But I think getting your number one guy in Trey Amos was a big deal for them because we seen what he did Brock Bowers last year. Even though they was trying to use that excuse he was hurt, which he was kind of coming back from, but at the same time, he was a big addition for those guys. A lot of the guys that he got out of portal was defensive guys, so you could tell where he was trying to hit where they was weak at. Like, yeah, we can score, but if we're not scoring, we know we can slow down some guys or whatnot. So I was highly impressed by I was about to say Carson Beck because you guys kept talking about Carson Beck by Dart. Him going out there after coming back from that injury and playing the way he was playing in the rain, I may add. So to see him play like that, and the backup quarterback Simmons is not that bad either, from what I've seen.
Facts.
I'm not looking forward to playing him. That cat's good.
Yes, and he was throwing some right on the money. So and made some real difficult throws. So man, shout out to him for real for coming back after they had that bad first drive and lead them down the field. I think that gave them the momentum that led to the big win that they had. So shout out to Lane. This one just going out on the limb just because they were just going to Oxford. I was like, man, it's just setting up that way for you can just see like everywhere, all the guys, even though he left lost Quinshon, they gained a lot on the defense. And you can tell that Georgia wasn't gonna be the offense that they've been with Brock Bowers and Lad McConkey this year. and it's only showing more and more. Even though I love Dylan Bell, you're still not getting a lot out of those guys like you did last year. So, no surprise.
You know, and Jance, as I pass it to you, I want to give you a stat that is telling. That's Coach Carl, Janet. That's Coach Carl. Is the fifth member of the panel, and of course the sixth member is the spinning wheel of doom, but we don't let him speak until the very end on account of the problematic things they say. But, Jance, this is two things I'm interested in getting your opinion on, Jance. One, you know, I mean, Coach Sean, you know, Brinsky, you know, but nobody, I have done content with Jance longer than I've done content with anybody. First guy I ever streamed with going back to 2021. So it's been 3 years of him having a permanent seat on this round table. Jance, you know I'm not one to talk bad on players. That's not what I like to do. I don't see how Carson Beck is a first rounder. Coach Sean makes a great point that he doesn't do well with the blitz. My big concern outside of that is even when he's not getting blitzed, once you change up the post-snap coverage, he's lost. And then two, Georgia ran the ball 33 times for an average of 5.9, or I'm sorry, an average of 5.9. That would have been fantastic. For 59 yards, they carried it 33 times for 59 yards, averaging 1.8 yards per carry. How? Want to hear.
Well, first of all, I completely agree with you with Carson Beck. Carson Beck is done. You know, I don't know if he has an extra year of eligibility, but he is a day 3 NFL draft pick. He's not day 1, he's not day 2. And quite frankly, you know, if he would have came out last year, he would have been a second rounder, but he would have had a really, really good chance. You know, still just based off of his evaluation. But he's not the only college quarterback that's struggling. A lot of defenses college defense they have adapted to the college game. They're starting to adapt NFL style of defenses. They're running a lot of split coverages, a lot of kind of disguised coverages. Trying to show you different looks, and a lot of pro style quarterbacks, they're getting confused. They're not used to something like this. They're so used to kind of making pre-snap adjustments and obviously relying on those pre-snap reads in order for them to become successful. Anything regarding post-snap, post-snap progressions, processing information, they're not great. And we gave this criticism to Justin Fields when he came out of college, but he wasn't the only quarterback. He shouldn't have been the only quarterback because a lot of college offenses are not putting their quarterbacks in positions to where they have to work post snap. This is why and a lot of people question why Bryce Young was the number 1 overall pick. That's why he was the number 1 overall pick was because of his ability to make those difficult changes, not just pre snap, but finding a way to find it work during post snap. When it comes to making those post snap progressions, his ability to improvise, his ability to be dynamic, but again those progressions going through it when the play is broken down and still able to deliver is exactly why he ended up being the number 1 overall pick, right? So you look at these college quarterback nowadays. I mean, I would say Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward are the number 2 guys, but listen, Cam Ward has struggled with it. I think the saving grace with Cam Ward is number 1 is his offensive line is giving him a lot of time. And when the play does decide to break down, I think that Cam Ward's one of the best runners. Not saying that he's the most mobile guy in the world, but in terms of pocket mobility, he's the best. He's the best in terms of pocket mobility. He's probably the best in terms of the play breaking down and using that arm talent. But Shedeur Sanders, again, he can go through the progression. The problem with Shedeur is he just holds on to the ball too long. He's not willing to. He just holds on to the ball too long. Hence why he gets sacked a crap ton of times because he's not willing. Because sometimes if he doesn't see it or if he doesn't trust it, he's just going to hold on to the ball and just say, you know what, I'll just take it on the chin or I'll just try to see if I can create a play. Cam Ward does the same, but he's willing to take a lot of those extra risks. Hence why, this year, and we've seen it 3 times where, again, where he gets confused by, this guy's kind of cover looks, and he's making those big mistakes where he's throwing the interceptions. So Carson Beck's not the only quarterback that's going through this. Every other quarterback, I would say right now, is going through it, but there's a little bit more added on top. I think with Carson Beck, right? Look at the defenses that he's played against. He's played against 4 defenses that are in the top 10 in scoring defense alone, right? He's played against Texas, he's played against Tennessee, he's played against Alabama, and I don't even know how in the hell Kentucky is top 10 in scoring defense, but they are. They're top 10 in the country in scoring defense. Like, you think about what Carson Beck has to kind of go through in that consistent basis. He's going against great defensive lines. You can make a legit argument that there's at least 8 teams in the SEC that have top 10 front sevens in the SEC alone. So I give Carson Beck a little bit of leeway. His offensive line they're not as good as they were last year. They're not as deep as they were last year. The left tackle spot with Ernest Green, he's been getting killed all season long. They're not as deep. They don't have the playmakers on the outside. I understand that a lot of Georgia fans want to use metrics of saying, they get their players based off of metrics instead of just, talent per capita, but they don't have the playmakers necessary. They don't have a Matt McConkey or Brock Bowers, and they don't have any of those guys that can consistently start to create separation and can be relied upon for Carson Beck. And then Mike Bobo is not Todd Monken. He is not in the same realm as a Todd Monken at all. And even then, look how many years it took Todd Monken. It took Monken about a couple years before eventually he got going, obviously, with Stetson Bennett. Georgia, unfortunately, they're in a position, man, where the schedule has really bit them in the ass. Has Georgia played the best? No. There's a lot of weaknesses on their team, mainly on the offensive side of the ball. Their secondary it's just, I've been saying it since last year. It's just, I think the front seven has really kind of hit the weaknesses of their secondary. I think it's now starting to come into light. But the schedule, Georgia has the toughest schedule in the country. And when you keep going against these elite front sevens every single game, including next week, you're going against another one in Tennessee. That's not going to be any better. That's not going to. I mean,
that's an elite front.
They're struggling. Their offensive line is struggling, and it's not just they're having a lot of miscommunication. There was literally 2 plays. I think Brian Bollinger broke it down to where they're not understanding assignments. They're missing constant assignments. So I don't know what the hell's going on with their O-line coach, but the communication's off. And even if everything's gone right from a talent perspective, they haven't matched well with the talent on the opposite end. They just haven't matched well. So their offensive line's not as good. Like I said, guys, they don't have the skill position. They don't have the skill position players at receiver. They don't have that dynamic running back. They don't really have that dynamic tight end. Their offense is the weak point, and then their secondary for Georgia is also a weak spot. So I don't know. I don't know what else Georgia has to do. They're a victim of the schedule. But even if they were to make the playoffs, I think Georgia would win a game or 2, maybe. Best case scenario, they'll win another game. This team wasn't going to win a national championship this year. They're just not. They're not as good as they were last year. And Georgia, unfortunately for them, they're going to have to retool it.
I even typed in the chat that was top tier analysis, because one of the things you did that I failed to do, which really paints the complete picture, which is why that was such a top tier response. I focused on Beck and the things that he hasn't done well. And you took that thought and you expanded it to saying, well, you're not wrong, but college football's caught up. This quarterback struggling with it. That was such a great answer to that question. That was such a great answer to the question. And I got to eat some crow here. I already said it in chat, but y'all already know. I'm like the y'all like the movie Waterboy? Yeah. You remember whenever the mom's in the hospital and they get that one dude to come out and he's like, I am not a proud man. The good Lord didn't bless me with smarts or looks or athletic ability. Yeah, that's me. Okay. So I have no issue saying when I'm wrong. And train wreck, before the season, I had Beck at quarterback 3 in the SEC. I had him behind Milroe and Ewers. I can't put him there anymore. I just can't. I just can't.
Yeah. I mean, I would take Taylor Green over Carson Beck.
Dude, Green's upside is unreal. Yeah. He's so electric. And that Texas still has some really great games ahead of them. Like, me as a college football fan, I am so pumped up for Texas, Arkansas.
Yeah, they're on upset alert. I'm sorry. They're on upset alert this week.
They might be. I'll probably take Texas in that game just because that defense, man, that defense is so good.
It's good.
So good. But Texas A&M, that's a top 3 game all year because it's a major rivalry that hasn't been played, getting played again. That's going to be huge for college football, especially in the state of Texas. I am so excited for that game. But Jance, that was such a good answer. Like, seriously, that was such a good answer, pointing to all these other quarterbacks that have struggled with similar things.
Yeah, Quinn struggled against Georgia. I mean, why do you think he struggled against? I mean, look at the looks they were showing him. He never seen anything like it before, and it's like, it's exactly why I don't think Quinn's a first round pick, and he can't move. Well, he can move, but he's not. He's more of a traditional pro style pocket passing quarterback than I would say any other quarterback that's coming out. That's going to be in consideration. I don't think his game is going to translate. He's going to need time to develop. I'll just say that. I think he's going to need some time.
Well, especially too, I think the best case for Quinn is to go into a situation with a quarterback that is on his way out, maybe has a year or 2 years left in the chamber. That way he can sit and listen. That's not just a Quinn, right? That's not just a Quinn. I think that's the perfect scenario for any quarterback out there, anybody out there. So that's not just for him. But why I say that particularly for Quinn is because he hasn't played a full healthy season of football in years. Take the time, learn the system, get acclimated to the NFL, let your body get right with the NFL trainers, and then take over whenever you can. I mean, you look at some of the best quarterbacks we've seen, that's the route they took in the NFL. They didn't come in day one. Not saying that is a factor that guarantees you won't be successful, but that's just a perfect scenario for me. Chris, a Texas fan, saying, I don't think Arkansas can hang A&M. That's our toughest game. Arkansas's got a great offense, Chris. Like I said, I will probably be picking Texas in that game. But I do think they're both really great games for us, the college football consumers. Like, I think a lot of people are sleeping on that Texas. And I'm not saying Texas fans, I'm not saying Arkansas fans. And my argument right now isn't even about like who wins. My argument is, as a college football consumer, I don't know why that game's not being talked about more, because I think that's an awesome game. I'm so excited for that game. So excited for that game.
There's a reason why Arkansas beat Tennessee. I'm sorry. There's a reason why Arkansas beat Tennessee. There's a reason why they beat them. And they beat them because they took away Tennessee's best asset, which was run the football, out of that veer look. And they were able to pretty much take Quinn, what's his name? Nico's pre-snap read. They had to make him work. They made him work post-snap. They didn't give that entire game. It was not easy for Nico. And it wasn't easy, for Nico. And they just stopped the run. They were doing it consistently, And I think with Arkansas, I think with Quinn, again, Sarkisian's one of the best play designers, that you're ever gonna see. But I'm telling you, Arkansas, they're not gonna give it up easy. You're gonna have to work. Quinn's gonna have to work this game, and we're gonna see what type of quarterback I think Quinn Ewers is if you can take away a lot of those easy options.
Yeah, good to see how Quinn finished that game against Florida. They beat the snot out of Florida. Good to see how he finished. He hit some really good shots. If Texas gets Michigan, Quinn, boy, they're going to be tough. I mean, they're already going to be tough. Let's be honest here. They're a really good team. But if they get Michigan, Quinn, that guy was dropping dimes in that game. Beautiful play from a quarterback perspective. Coach Carl, I do want to give it to you. I have 2 questions in here. I have starred. One of them from Sicario CVL3 asking, Ty, I heard you guys last video talk. Coach Sean talked about split field. I heard it again from Coach Jay. Can you get these guys to explain deeper? I asked him the context on that. Oh, just explain what it is. Gotcha. Coach Sean, do you want to do that? And then we'll pass it to Coach Carl.
Yeah, really quickly, I'll let Coach Carr go deep in it. For me, it's just split field coverage. When we say split field, as an offensive guy, split field when we attack it, it's just like dividing the field in half and possibly running 2 different coverages on each side. A lot of times it's cover 2, a lot of times it's cover 4. From the safety over. For instance, most teams like call the wider side of the field side, and the shorter side of the boundary, right? But the markings on the field really tell you what's what. When you say split field coverage, a lot of times you have these different coverages from safety over, but you also want to provide what we call 4-over-3. Meaning, if you got 3 receivers, we want 4 defenders. We want more defenders, more resources shadowing your receivers than you can. We want more defenders defending more than your receivers that you have, right? A lot of 4-over-3s, things of that nature. But a lot of times in high school, when split field coverages run, sometimes they run 2 different coverages from on each side of the field from hash marks over. Go ahead, Coach.
Oh, I think Coach Carl was coming in here. Switch
bad.
profiles before. Coach Carl, Sicario is asking for us to explain split field. So Coach Sean already kind of started on that trip. Well, Coach started on that trail when Coach Carl gets in here. We have a $5 donation from Daniel X. Daniel, thank you very much. I'm sorry I didn't get to this quicker. We were in the flow of conversation, and that's 100% my fault. Saying, what's up, Coach? Can we win without Q-Rob? Will wide receiver Jalen Hale return? Great blowout win. Roll Tide roll. Coach, do you want to quickly answer that, and then we'll pass it back to Coach Carl to talk about split field?
All right, yeah, quickly for me. Yes, we can win without Q-Rob, but somebody got to step up and be a dominant pass rusher. I hadn't seen nobody be a consistent pass rusher but Q-Rob. Somebody has, and it's a key word what I just said, consistent.
Yeah, 100%
consistent.
agree. 100% agree.
I've seen 1,000 people rush the passer and some get to him, but I'm talking about every game Q-Rob has been a force. Somebody has to step up and provide that with the games we have left on the schedule. All right, go ahead, Coach Carl. I gave him my quick offensive, defensive synopsis of how we look at split field coverage, right? And I let the defensive guys go deeper, but that's how we look at it from an offensive perspective. We just pretty much told them sometimes 2 different coverages are being ran. We can see 2 different coverages being ran, depending on down and distance and our resources. We got 3 receivers. Sometimes they try to shadow us for 4-over-3 and things of that nature. Go ahead, Coach Carl.
And Coach Carl, Coach Sean, Brinsky, Jantz, put a pin in this topic right here about the wolf position, because I have a question whenever we get into Alabama for all of you. Just wanted to get you all thinking, bookmarking that. Coach Carl, talk to us about split coverage.
Okay, it's just like Coach Sean said, when you say split coverages, it basically you split the field in half, and then you got your deep coverage, you have your middle coverage, and then you have your intermediate coverage. It's at three different levels of the field. Right there behind the line of scrimmage, onto the middle, from the middle to the deep coverage, and the deep coverage on back towards the goal line. And now you splitting coverages. So when you split coverages, you split this zone, you got this zone, you got that zone, you got like I don't know why I keep going up, but it's basically 9 different zones on the football. I don't know, something going on with my mic. But there's 9 different zones on the football field. That's why you have all these different covers, and they say cover 1 all the way down to cover 9. So it's like 9 different zones on the football field. You want to cover each last one of them. It's the middle of the field. You got 3 levels of the middle of the field. You got 3 levels on the left. You got 3 levels on the right, which is the boundary in the field side. Depends on what side you're on, or what side the ball is sitting on. You got these different levels. So that's why they say split coverages. All the coverages roll to one side of the field. Depends on what side of the field you own. And nowadays with the modern college football, most offenses are playing the field side anyway, unless you get deep into the play drive. Like once you get inside the 30-yard line, everybody start playing down home side, short side of the field, what we call it, binary side of the field. Most people playing that side of the field. Everything want to wrap that side of the field. So now you start shifting your coverage that side of the field. And you make quarterbacks, whether they're right-handed quarterbacks, you make them play backside of the field. So that's when you shift in those coverages. You shift your coverage to the strong side of the quarterback's vision and his quarterback pass it. So if you're left-handed quarterback, you shift everything left side because he's not going to be able to turn that fast backside and get the ball all the way back across field with a lot of velocity. So you want to make sure everybody's focuses on the front side of the field because that's all the velocity on this side of the field when quarterback throws the ball right-handed like Carson Beck. He right-handed, so most of the time he throw passes. It is quick slant going left. You never see him throwing too many deep passes left side of the field because it's going to take velocity off the ball. And then and that's where all the interceptions come at because he got to go all the way across the body to make them deep throws. And he don't have that much velocity on the ball, so it tend to hang a little bit. And that's where a lot of those pitch come in. That most of his throws are quick slants, those short crosses in the middle zone. Or those are most of that right stuff, and he pretty much dead accurate on that right side of the field. You're hard to stop him if you got anything free on the right side. It's hard to stop Carson Beck. So you shift all the coverages toward that side of the field and make him play middle to the left side of the field. That's all split coverages is, man. It's just knowing your zone. You split the field in 3 down sections, and then you make a quarterback read from their strong side all the way back across to their weak side. And if you got to read all the way back weak side, you're pretty much going to pick him off or you're going to sack him. And Carson Beck struggling right now. If I was on Georgia, I would run my scheme offensively, you know what I'm saying, just my opinion. I would run my scheme for him to start reading left to right. Instead of him reading right to left, I would make everything read from left to right and then make teams shift cover to the left side. So I'm gonna throwing the ball, boom, everything digging it up to the left side, and then I'm gonna make you shift your coverage left side, and he can be able to go back his strong side and hit those guys on those deep crosses to the right side where he have a lot of velocity on the ball. That's the best thing I can see if I were Mike Bobo calling offensive play.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts. And that's the same thing. Exactly. He just broke it down into great detail. You to somebody that don't really know, and Coach Jay, you can chime in on this. You and Coach Carr, you split to somebody that don't know. I guess the best way to put it in layman terms is you're splitting the field or a la passing strength. You know what I'm saying? Usually 4 defenders on the field, 3 on the boundary. You know what I mean? You're just like Coach said, depending on who the quarterback is too, I will say. So those coverages are definitely that's just the best way to put it for sure. Come on, go ahead. Coach Jay, Ty might have stepped out. Coach Jay, you want to chime in on that split field coverage? Coach Jay, you there? Coach Jay might have stepped out.
Mike muted. Mike muted. There we go.
Okay. You want to chime in, Coach Jay, on that split field coverage?
Yeah, I was about to say, like, there's some other things that you can kind of do too. At least that I was playing a little bit. Like, you can kind of play basic coverage in a bit, especially if there's no safety in the middle of the field. It's kind of easier to kind of play basic coverage on either side if you want to kind of too. You can use an overhang play. You can pretty much use an overhang.
He was just strictly he was just strictly asking us to explain what split field coverage was. And I figured you guys, could definitely give a much better answer than me.
Yep. Safe. Let's see what else. Safeties. Your safeties typically can drop back a little bit more into the seam or the hook areas.
Yeah.
If you kind of want to too. I mean, typically I would say this. Our scheme, I think, 4-2-5 scheme typically kind of does it better than a lot of others. But I think you guys pretty much broke it down Broke it down to a T.
Right, man. And that's pretty much what it is. If you want to see good split field coverage, go watch Texas A&M and what they did to LSU when they weren't dropping 3 rushing 8. I mean, excuse me, dropping 8 rushing 3, excuse me. Texas A&M done an outstanding job with that, man. They played LSU, and that's why I say Texas A&M is dangerous, bro. You know what it really tells me too about those guys? They well coached on the defensive side. About
Yep.
Mike, what's his name? Mike
Mike Elko's a
Mike
dog.
Elko.
Yes, man. Yes. They ran
Great
that
hire.
scheme to a T, bro. If you want to see it, go back and watch that game. It was absolutely outstanding. I hope that answers your question, Sicario. Great job, coaches.
This is a great comment as well. Drewski saying, "What's up, guys? Jackson's been a silent assassin at cornerback. Geez, Hubbard ain't going back to the bench." And and unfortunately, and okay, let me rephrase this because I don't mean to sound like unfortunately he's not, because he's playing so well. When I say unfortunately, I hate that it came at the expense of Sab probably being down for the season. That's and my camera freezes. That's fantastic. But that's what I mean when I say unfortunately. It has nothing to do with Hubbard, his play, or his ability, because he has proved to be more than capable. That guy's a star in the making at safety. I just hate that it came whenever Sab got hurt, because Sab was giving it his all. Like, he was already hurt, and the play if I'm not mistaken, the play where he really, really got hurt, he laid it all on the line to make the tackle to prevent a touchdown. I mean, the heart he played with, coming in, transferring, I'm a big fan. But Damani Jackson, Coach Sean, Coach Jay, I have been so excited. Brinsky, as well. I've been so excited for Damani, because I just was sitting here like, hey, if he's healthy, if he gets good coaching, he's going to be great. But this is a topic we're going to talk about and cover further when we get to the Bama, because there's this coach on this staff. A lot of them deserve credit, don't get me wrong, but there's a coach on this staff. I don't think we've said his name in weeks. That's a good thing, but I think it's time he gets some flowers. Put a bookmark in that. Gentlemen, we do need to talk about some tragedy. Steven, if you're still in here, my man, it's that time. Oklahoma loses in an absolute heartbreaker. Listen, there's losing, and then there's how you lose. And the way they lost that game is heartbreaking if you're an Oklahoma fan. Listen, being an Alabama fan, we're spoiled. We don't know a whole lot about losing in the past decade. But we've had some wild, heartbreaking losses, right? Like kick 6. We've been there. Did y'all see the end of that OU Missouri game? How it happened, Coach Sean? Did you get to see how that came to pass? Quoting Lord of the Rings.
I didn't get to watch the game, but I seen the highlights, and I seen one in particular highlight, and I'm assuming that is what happened because I seen this highlight about 5 times. I don't know what happened, but I just remember Missouri scooping the ball up, running it for a touchdown.
I mean,
that was tragic.
Yeah, is that what happened? Because I seen that highlight about 4 or 5 times.
So that's the start, or no, that's the end, but that's not where it started. Okay. Oklahoma was up they were up 23-16 with like a minute and
like 9 seconds.
Yeah, like a minute and 9 seconds. Here's the first heartbreak. Theo Weiss straight up mosses someone in the end zone. Now, why that's particularly heartbreaking, Coach? He transferred from OU. So he goes up, mosses someone in the end zone, tie ball game. Minute left. OU gets the ball back. Fumbles, and then Missouri touchdown. You had the game won and gave up 14 points. And listen, I'm not saying the defense gave up 14 points. I'm saying the team as a whole. 14 points in less than 2 minutes. And that's how you lose to Missouri. And look, Oklahoma's real banged up. They're real hurt across the board. Missouri didn't have their starting quarterback. Missouri had Drew Pine. I'm not meaning comparative football is a thing we need to talk about, but Bama held that Missouri team to nada. Absolute nada. And Brady Cook was out there for half of that game, a quarter of that game. Absolute heartbreaker. I'll give you a stat, Coach, that's unbelievable. Through most of this game, through most of the game, Oklahoma's leading passer wasn't the quarterback. Who do you think it was, Coach?
For Oklahoma?
Mm-hmm. Who do you think the leading passer for Oklahoma was for the Missouri?
I would
Or
say
for the majority of this game. I'm reading comments and...
Was it Jackson Arnold?
Mm-mm. Nope. The leading passer for the majority of this game was Luke Elzinga, the punter.
What?
He had a pass that went for 43 yards, not 43 yards to the air, but the end result was a 43-yard gain. At the end of the game, Coach Sean, this is what's bad. Jackson Arnold went 15 of 24 for 74 yards. He had 31 more yards than the punter.
Damn.
Yeah, I know, right? Wow.
I'm still pissed off from that game because it was the last game on my parlay. And I picked Oklahoma for the because I think they had them losing by 3. So you can only imagine how I felt when Jackson Arnold, they got that scoop and score.
Yeah, and that was the last one on the parlay. Ooh, that's terrible. Yeah.
Hey, so imagine how I feel right now when Jalen Miro couldn't even get down 200-yard passing because it rained out. So I took Miro and Ryan Williams. Ryan Williams had to get 65 yards, and Jalen Miro had to get 197. So just imagine.
Oh man, couldn't hit him. Just couldn't do it.
And the crazy thing about that is, like, I swear to you, I would bet copious amounts of money that on a dry day, Ryan Williams catches that one pass.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hit him right here. Yeah.
Right. It was a little ahead. He stretched out, got it. And just, I mean, one, momentum, he was already falling. And 2, it was so wet. Milroe went, 10 for 16, over 100 yards. But really, he should have had the completion to Ryan Williams, hit him in the hands. That would have been like a 40, 50-yard gain. I don't exactly remember off the top of my head, and a touchdown. And then you remember he threw an absolute piss missile to Kendrick Law that hit him right in the hands. I mean, that thing was, and the ball was wet. I'm not mad at any drops in this game. It happens.
I think he catches it with them gloves on.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Nah, the worst thing you can do when it raining that hard is to play in some gloves.
Oh, no. I'm talking about without the rain. Without
the rain.
Without the rain.
Yeah, I'm finna say with
context on them.
Yeah, them gloves, they retain that water, boy.
Oh yeah, man.
Be squishy. You know what I mean?
That's why they be taking them off.
Yeah.
So Oklahoma, guys,
it's a piss missile one word.
Oklahoma's terrible, man. I never expected Oklahoma to be this bad. Like, Oklahoma surprised me. I never expected them to be this bad.
12 of 24 for 74 yards. I'm just looking at it right now. That is crazy, bro.
Oklahoma was 5 of 15 on third down to Missouri. This comment is so.
But why though? I see they was 9 for 56 in rushing with they back. Did they just stop running the ball or something?
The game management for Oklahoma continues to be perplexing to me.
Right.
Xavier Robinson's a true freshman back. Very big guy. I think he needs more play. But this is the thing, guys. And listen, we talked about this earlier in the season with Bama, but the difference is, all due respect to Jackson Arnold, Jackson Arnold isn't Jalen Milroe. It's one thing to run Jalen Milroe when you're in the RPO more than you run a running back, because the guy's top 3 most dangerous players in college football I mean, they had the speed analysis on him, guys. I don't know if you saw this, but the guy, I think it was Nagy, he has the Senior Bowl. He quote tweeted something that said Jalen Milroe hit like 22.8 or something miles per hour on that 70-yard run. Guy's dangerous. Jackson Arnold's not Jalen Milroe. Whenever you have your quarterback getting double the carries of a running back, I get it. He's a dual threat guy, but not to the point where I'm not going to give the running backs the ball. Not to that point. And even when Jalen Milroe, when Bama was running Jalen Milroe that much, we were sitting here like, hey, this is cool. He can do it, but let's make it more effective by getting the running backs involved, which is part of the reason I thought the game plan Saturday was so brilliant. We'll get to that. This is not good for OU. This is not good.
One thing you got to realize, Ty, that like I've been listening to y'all for a minute. To this year here, most of the teams at SEC had that defensive line, right? And everybody been trying to focus on running the football this year because, you know, you set up the pass by running. So now what the defensive line doing is they shutting down the run game. And you shut down the run game and you got a mediocre quarterback that you're trying to hype up to be this so-called first-round draft pick like Carson Beck. They're trying to make you prove that you got a first-round draft pick at quarterback. A lot of teams doing it. Man, if you don't have that solidified dog as a quarterback and no weapons that Texas has at their wide receiver, you in trouble. I'm just gonna be straight up. You better have your offensive line right. You better have your checks right. The quarterback better know how to make more than one read. He better not be a pre-snap reader. Because all these things they taking away from you now. They showing you one thing on pre-snap, then they switching to another coverage. Like Jance been saying, Jance said earlier, they roll in coverages. So you might start off in a man. They might show man to man and roll into a zone, or they may show they may start off in man to man and have a man beat or have a man zone. You may play man on one side, zone on the other side. I mean, they rolling so many different coverages at you. And when the quarterback see man, they thinking hot rock. Boom, that hot rock gone. Now they dropping in the zone. That's a pick. Kind of how I got Jackson Dart in the first half, in the first drive of the game. They set him up in the man, boom, drop in the zone, pick him on, Georgia score. I'm like, damn, it's about to be a rock. And then Georgia tried to roll that same coverage. Lane Kiffin adjust to it. Georgia never did adjust back to what Lane Kiffin started doing. Lane Kiffin started pre-adjust. Like he'll watch Georgia. Oh, so they line up in man-to-man. They ain't coming. We're going to run the ball. If they're coming, well, okay, cool. We'll just take a loss. But at least we won't get another pick. So Lane started doing different. Like when second half, when Kirby supposed to make the adjustment, he made an adjustment, but Lane made an adjustment on top of what Kirby did. And it just kept on making adjustment. And Lane just kept out thinking Kirby. Mike Bobo was Mike Bobo. I've been saying that for the longest. If you outthink Mike Bobo, he's never going to change what he does. He's going to do what he do. He tried to get a little trickery here and there. But when everybody's coming at your head, man, it's no longer Nick Saban. Everybody coming for Kirby Smart. Kirby better learn how to damn take the heat like Nick Saban did. Kirby is the big dog on the damn in college football now. And everybody going at Georgia gonna get Georgia their best shot. They still gonna come at Bama because of that script A, but Georgia the big dog of college football. And every time they line up on the football field to play somebody, they gonna get their best shot, just like Nick Saban was getting everybody the best shot. And Kirby might well just look out for it, man. And if he can't handle it, he gonna be going back into those old days of Georgia. When they had Mark Ritz, those 9-3 years, have all that talent end up in 9-3. He gonna have to go in there and sit down with Coach Saban and figure out how Coach Saban prepared every week, knowing that he was gonna be the 100. And now Georgia is the 100. I would have came in the season knowing that I was the 100 when Nick Saban retired. It's only one team out there that didn't nobody ever beat but Bama, and that's Georgia. Now they got their first loss to somebody outside the name Bama, which Ole Miss. And Ole Miss proved that you can beat Georgia. Now everybody coming in here thinking that now that Georgia is vulnerable, they coming at your ass, Georgia. So It's time to step up, man. It's really time to step up. The Bulls came in, he blowed out LSU in the rain. He
They
gonna
are
start
going,
making.
Coach
He
Carl,
gonna start.
they are going to get their ass kicked if they can't fix it to Tennessee. Tennessee's worse.
Oh yeah,
They're worse than
I know.
the Ole Miss.
I know that Tennessee D line is terrible. They terrible. They violent and they terrible. So they better fix it. They better get that shit together ASAP. Just like Bama. I mean, like I said, the Bulls came in there and beat the crap out of LSU. Auburn coming in Tuscaloosa. They gonna come in there and try to damn prove that hey, yeah, we've been taking a lot of L's, but we still Auburn. Oklahoma. We still got over Oklahoma. Even though Oklahoma playing the way they play, you go in there and you wet the bed, Oklahoma gonna beat you. So I mean, you got it is what it is. You still got that A on your chest. But Georgia, I like it. Now Georgia's the honey. Shit. Everybody hunting Georgia, nobody paying attention to Alabama, and I like it. And I hope it stays that way with Kirby with all that there. And they need to start hunting Ohio State next with that $25 million roster. So they need to start going at their head too.
Oh, they gonna have a test, and they gonna be the ones tested. Especially with next week, how Indiana playing. We're gonna really find that.
I hope Indiana I hope Indiana win that game.
And it's in Columbus.
Man, I hope Indiana win that game.
They may fire Ryan Day if he loses that game.
Ryan Day lose to Indiana with a $5 million roster.
$20 million roster.
I'm talking about Indiana with their little $5 million roster, and he got that 20 plus million roster.
If that.
Yeah.
And he lose to Indiana, they're gonna pack him up out of Columbus real fast.
Look, let me tell you this. Everything Coach said and Coach Jay said and Brinsky, Ty, they hit it spot on. I can't deny none of that. But I'll go on record right now. So you can call me. I can't get Brinsky Dama status. You know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying? I think Georgia is going to dump truck Tennessee. You heard it here first. I told you this when they went to Tech. They look, Georgia respond. Everything they said is spot on. Georgia is well coached. They got some deficiencies. We all know. They gonna respond, bro. They're in Athens. I think they're going to dump truck Tennessee. You heard it here first.
Yep. I'm with you all the way.
I don't think Tennessee gonna play with them.
My fault. Go ahead.
Coach Sean, it could be possible, bro. But the way Georgia played that game against Ole Miss and Tennessee got a better defense, if Mike Bobo don't adjust and Georgia don't adjust to the passing game, Nico gonna kill him, man.
I think they're going to. I think they're gonna respond well. I think they're gonna come out aggressive. I think their defense gonna be pissed, fired up, and I think they're gonna have a point. I think they're gonna prove. I think Georgia, they're back against the wall, bro, and I really believe they're gonna respond accordingly. They got too much pride over there, man.
Coach Sean, I think that game's gonna be like a 9-3 game. I'll be honest with you.
You think so?
I think
it could be. It could be.
I think that game's gonna be 9. I don't think either offense scores 10 points. Georgia's offensive, because even in that Texas game, that Texas defense in losing that game was their offense. It was the turnovers and the positions that they kept giving Georgia phenomenal field position. Texas offensive line got their ass kicked. But Georgia's offensive line has been getting their ass kicked for 4 weeks straight. 4 weeks straight, their offensive line has just been getting their ass kicked. And again, I think some of it has to do with scheme, because there's been a lot of miscommunication. Too many offensive linemen they're just having the wrong assignments. It's absolutely insane what's kind of going on right there. But these playmakers on the outside, they don't have a Lat McConkey, they don't have a Bowers, they don't have anybody that can create frequent separation. And Carson Beck, again, he's been struggling. He's been struggling to read and diagnose these coverages and continue to just attack it the correct way. He's struggling. And so Tennessee, there we go. Like knowing how difficult that front seven is and know how difficult that defensive line is. Yep. I think it's one dimensional, because Nico has the exact same issue that Carson Beck has. He has the exact same issue what a lot of these quarterbacks have. And I think it's gonna be I think this is gonna be a defensive game. I'll just say that it's gonna be a low scoring defensive game.
I don't see it that way. I don't know what. I think that's selling the short. I ain't gonna lie to you. I do believe it's gonna be a defensive game. I just don't see it that being that low. I just suspect Georgia under those lights big time. The way
they coming, bro.
And the way everybody been talking about them, especially with Jake Pope being one of the headliners celebrating with the Ole Miss guys.
I've never seen that in my life ever.
Yeah, I was like, I understand you seeing your friend and all that, but that is insane. Like, man, let's not do this out here. We can do this after the game, like in the tunnel somewhere. Like, I'm happy to see you, but not right after the game after we just took this loss. But I believe he just hasn't been playing up to his standard this year that I'm used to seeing him play. Malachi Starks. I expect him to have a big time game in this game to show why he is one of the best safeties in the country. I believe they're going to run the ball with ETN a whole lot more. Frazier really put them in a bunch of bad spots too, fumbling the ball.
Turnovers, yeah, man.
And the way that offensive line, especially around the edges, I wish, because I remember when we was recruiting him, I wish we got Perkins some way. Man. I wish we got him to Tuscaloosa because he was only showing, he was just flying around those tackles and knocking it out their hand and recovering, just doing everything. So the offensive line definitely got to step up. I believe Dylan Bell's going to have a great game. So I say watch out for Dylan Bell, Malachi Starks. And I definitely expect Everett to play a good game too. So I got Georgia. I'm going to say Georgia 28, Tennessee 10.
Oof. Hey, nah. Think about it like this, Brisky. Think about it like this, Brisky.
One last little part. It's like you guys said. They out of all the teams, I think they're the best coach. They're the most well coached.
So, man.
And I think just everything is coming down on them. And we haven't really seen Kirby and them with their backs against the wall like this in a minute. So we're gonna really find out what they made of. So
that's what I was about to say. Think about it like this: with that coaching staff, with Cass Jones, he's a walk-on running back, number 32, being probably the best running back they got right now. I mean, he probably playing better at running back than anybody. They don't have that big threat wide receiver anymore. You know, all these big time wide receivers transferred out, and they had them, and none of the freshmen really stepped up yet. So think about that. The offense is struggling. Carson Beck don't have any weapons. This bigger weapon is number 32, Cass Jones at running back. And number 86, I keep forgetting that kid name coming across the middle. But he's a stud. He's slow, but he's one of those Dez Bryant big type possession type guys. Dez Bryant, Brown, like up there in Philadelphia. He's one of those type. The bigger threat is they don't have any tight ends that they used to have, like the Brock Bowers of the world. Those were the space eaters. They don't have that dominant tight end factor. Me personally, I know you got 86 in the slot. I'll put him at tight end. Put him at tight end. Let him run all those tight end routes because he's already big and thick and not that fast. And then you let him eat up space and open up to some of those young receivers that you got. I mean, you got 5-star galore. Put him at tight end, let him eat up some space, and put some of those 5-star wide receivers in space, man. Let him eat. I mean, he can do that. That'll change up some of the stuff and make it easy for the blocking scheme because the tackles get eat up right now. I mean, I thought Bama tackle was horrible on the right side. Georgia tackle look horrible, man. Either Georgia tackle look horrible or Ole Miss defensive front is that good.
Yeah.
And I mean, either they that good or Georgia just look horrible because Texas got a defensive line. They got a defensive front. Everybody in the world knows Texas front is outstanding. Bama front is outstanding. Bama front didn't get that much pressure on Beck. Texas didn't do that to Beck. Ole Miss ate his ass for lunch. No, and I mean, they probably still eating on damn Beck soup. Like they were eating Beck ass for lunch, man.
No diddy.
Yeah. Hey, you gotta get one in.
You gotta get that one in. They were
Not going to
killing.
happen, Brinsky.
They were killing Beck, man. And like you said, like you said, Malachi Starks. Malachi Starks is not the problem with Georgia defense.
Mm-hmm.
He's not the problem. Georgia defense is not getting no pressure. I don't give a damn who you is back there. You can
corners
have,
ain't playing well.
Their corners not playing well. They're not getting no pressure. Man, look, Seattle had the Legion of Boom. When them boys couldn't get no pressure, that made Richard Sherman get traded, right? So the whole Legion of Boom was separated because the defense line couldn't get no pressure. They had to send the linebackers to get pressure, and then they started dinking and dunking over Miller, even though Cam was tearing folks' head off. But if you don't get no pressure, I mean, I don't care who you got in the back end. You can have Sean Taylor guard rest of his soul back there. It don't matter, man, at Georgia. The Malachi Starks is a dog. If he ain't getting no defense line pressure, you can't. It ain't nothing Georgia can do.
You know what? I say this really quickly before I pass it back to Coach Jay. I think this game, just this one game, man. You know, we all know football is a game of pride, bro. I really believe Georgia's offensive line feel like we lost that game because they let just like Coach said, man, they was getting their asses, bad. I really believe, especially with the interview I saw, man, them kids ain't smiling. They ain't. You would think the game was this week how focused they was. I really believe Georgia comes out and play well Saturday. Well, bro. I believe this in my bone. I feel like this during the Texas game. I feel like Georgia's gonna go on the road to Texas and play well. The thing about Mike Bobo is Mike Bobo got to get Carson Beck to settle down, coaches. He got to get him to settle down and just do it. Take what the defense gives you. Do what you did against Texas. You don't got to throw for 300. You don't got to throw for 3. Georgia won a championship without throwing for 300 unless your name is what's the little guy who on the Rams?
Blake Bennett. Not Blake Bennett.
Stetson
Bennett.
Unless your name is Stetson Bennett. I feel like Georgia is going to come out on a personal challenge. That crowd gonna be probably louder than they have been all season. I feel like Georgia gonna win this game probably. I don't like giving score, but on other teams I will. I say Georgia 24, Tennessee 13, something like that. You know, I really feel that way, man. Could be wrong, obviously, but I really feel like Georgia's going to come out and make a statement against Tennessee.
It might be worse.
Yeah. Plus, I don't like Tennessee.
I just seen in the chat that it said that Nico was in concussion protocol, so it could be worse.
Oh, if he don't play, yeah.
So my last thing on this Georgia thing before we transition to Alabama. Someone said it, Keenafy saying Kirby called Pope an idiot. Did y'all see that?
Nah.
Yeah, I read it. I read it.
Kirby called him an idiot.
I don't got time for that. I'm thinking about Tennessee.
But here's my big thing. And I understand, right, before any Georgia fans come in here and say, oh, well, he handled those internally. You don't call the guys who are drunk as a skunk driving at 155 miles per hour an idiot.
And they do a lot better than Georgia.
That's a great point.
So where's the fire now? That's the one thing that, like, listen, I'm so hard pressed on this because I've lost friends to DUI, right? I've lost several friends to DUI. And to call the kid an idiot, even though it was dumb, I don't disagree. You have all this fire now. Where was this fire whenever you were on your, 95th DUI? I mean, you got guys trying out for the Fast and the Furious number 54 movie coming out next spring through Athens, and you don't hear a peep. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. You might handle it internally. That's fine. But if you handle those internally, how come the kid who did something that, listen, it was not a good look. That is not my point. You just lost and you're celebrating. What's a more serious offense? A kid celebrating on the field with family and friends, even though his team just lost, or people driving at over 100 miles per hour and people driving drunk? What's more serious? If you have any trouble answering that question, as much as I love college football, hell, I've been doing this for 2 or 3 years. I've made 1,600 videos. You don't think I'm obsessed? As much as I love college football, if you have any trouble answering that question, your priorities are not in the right lane. So if you have all that energy to call a kid an idiot for that, which I don't disagree with, you better have that energy the next time you get your 99th DUI in the past year and a half. Because you're pretty damn quiet when it comes to those. And if it was one, cool. If it was even 3 or 4, guys, it's college kids. You make bad mistakes. But when it's a systematic problem, every other week we're getting an alert. There was a time whenever that hurricane was about to hit Florida. Coach Sean, you remember I told you this tweet? The hurricane's about to hit Florida and 185 miles per hour was trending. The number one tweet when you hit that was someone saying, oh, I thought another Georgia player got pulled over.
Yeah.
So you have this systematic problem, but he's an idiot. Okay, cool. That's all well and good. But where are your priorities? If you're handling the serious shit internally, maybe you pull Jake Pope aside and then tell him, hey, that was really stupid. That was a bad look. I'm sure the young man would have said, you know what, coach, you're right. It's unacceptable. I don't know. That's just, I don't know. If you're going to be that guy whenever you have people who could kill people because they are drunk behind the wheel. Yeah. Jake Pope couldn't have killed anybody. And he's the idiot? I don't know, man. I don't know.
You spoke back on that.
You can tell I used to work in law firms. I have done so many evidence breakdowns from cams of DUI and crime scene of DUI prepping cases, breaking down all of the details in the crime scene footage from a crash scene or this, that, or the other. But Jake Pope's the idiot. Okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure we're... And I don't need to tell Lance. Lance, you know, in your line of work, you know what's more detrimental to society. A kid dancing on the field, even though his team just lost because he saw friends and family, or the person who, like I said, is trying out for the next Fast and Furious movie. What are they on, like 65 at this point? I don't know. I lost count when they tried to go to the moon or something like that.
It's all about family, man.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Get them, Ty. Get them.
That is all of the. That is all about family. But let's talk about Bama. Bama absolutely beat LSU. But actually, before I get into this, Truth asked a question, a good question, and I want Coach Carl, Coach Jay, Brinsky, Coach Sean, I want y'all to answer this. He says, question for the coaches is I know very little about split field besides like cover 4, cover 2, or cover 2, cover 3. Can you run a split man zone, or would that potentially cause an issue? Whoever wants to take that first.
Go ahead, Coach Jay. We started that in. Go ahead.
Oh, give me 1 second, fellas. I gotta run something. Give me 1 second. I'm sorry.
No worries.
I think Coach Carl is the best one.
Okay. You can run a split man zone. You can. But it wouldn't be good with a cover 3 or cover 4. Because a cover 3, you're running your corners, both your corners going deep and have one high safety.
Yeah,
one
middle of the field closed.
Inside the box, closed off the middle of the field.
Yeah.
So if you want to run a split man zone, you're going to be running split man with your linebackers. So it won't be good cover 3 or cover 4. You can do it with a cover 2. That's why they call it cover 2 man. You have cover 1 man, but it's not really good to do cover 3 when you're running your sectors deep. So if you're going to do cover 3 or you're going to do a split man, you should run a split man in something like quarters. not cover 4.
That's what I was gonna say.
But
we run
quarters.
Yeah.
Yeah, Coach Sean, if you have anything to answer.
Yeah, what Coach Carr said is just exactly what I was gonna say. If you're gonna do all that, you might as well just run quarters. That's a whole fact. Because implementing cover 3 is what we used to call middle of the field close. Coach Carr, middle of the field close is what we call cover 3. And if you're gonna run it that way, the way you're asking it, you would probably be better off running quarters. I think that's what he asking Coach Carr. He just didn't put it in the right terminology. I think if I'm reading the question right, that's what we would probably run in that situation, what he's asking. And I'm the offensive guy, I'm not the defensive guy, but I know about a little bit about defense. Just like Coach Carr said, the way he asking it, Coach Carr, that's what I was gonna say. Well, hell, you might well just run quarters if you want to do it that way. And you correct me if I'm wrong.
Let me ask you.
You're right.
Let me ask you guys a certain question. Can you just play match too? Can you just play some sort of?
Or you could match.
Yeah,
or you could match.
You could just play match.
Matchup zone is not split. You have split man.
Mm-hmm.
That just pass off. Matchup is basically you just sitting there passing off. You're just passing off through the zone, pass the zone, pass the zone. Once you get to the zone, somebody will pick you up and carry you.
Yeah.
That is called matchup zone. That's it. But when you say he's saying split man, that means you gotta have man coverage somewhere. And you don't want to have man coverage on a slot receiver with a linebacker because your corners are dropping deep. And you don't want to bring that star down and have that star cover your outside wide receiver because your corners are dropping deep. Now your star got to cover X coming across the field. And usually X probably going to be that big, strong, fast type wide receiver, kind of like a Jeremiah Smith. You don't want that star trying to cover Jeremiah Smith coming across the field. A lot of Georgia did that a lot against Alabama in the championship game, in the SEC championship game, when J-Mo just kept running past the linebackers and the safety and the star safety because they kept dropping in the cover 3. And once they got so deep in the zone, once you come forward trying to catch this fast guy, he kept burning. So that's how Bama kept running because they're trying to run that split man with that cover on top and that cover 3, and Bama just kept killing them with J-Mo. Either underneath, when they start setting down in the zone instead of backpedaling and dropping, they start throwing it deep on top of their head, right down the seam where the cover 3 is supposed to be at. So you really don't want to play it because all you're doing is expose yourself to big plays.
Really quickly, I talked about in my video that I go back to the A&M video when they played LSU. A&M, if he's still in here, Lance, or whoever was to answer the question, Coach Carr, A&M, when Texas A&M played those guys, Texas A&M brought a lot of pressure on the short. When LSU was on offense, Texas A&M brought pressure on the short side of the field, right? And a lot of simulated pressure on the front side of the field, on the front side of the formation, right? They remember when you talking about split zone, as Coach said, most split zones I know of always like attack the back side of the formation, the other side. You know what I mean? So if he's talking about split man, that's what made me think of quarter coverage. If you talking about running something similar to that, just in my humble opinion, that's what I thought it was. Coach Carr can break it down to you a little better. But just like Coach Jay saying, the way he asked it, I'm like, is he asking it saying as can we not pass off and run that in match zone?
This is a me problem because he asked the initial question and then clarified 2 or 3 different ones, but I didn't star those.
Yeah.
And so that's my fault. But Truth did say that that's what he was asking exactly. So great job, y'all. Yeah. Love the answer. Matt Farm says, do we want Pope back on Bama or is he not great? Whether he's great or not, we got Hubbard. And I'm not going to lie, I'll take Hubbard over Pope. Plus you got King Mac. And listen.
Pope a dog. Don't get it wrong.
He's a dog.
I'll take the death, man. I'll take the death any day of the week.
Pope a dog, man.
I'm probably different than these guys because as much as I do agree he's really good, and Jance, you're right, love to have the depth. I'd love to have the depth from someone that believed in the team instead of going to sit the bench somewhere else. If he had been like a bona fide, whatever, you followed the coach, one of the coaches that was working with you, and you're not even seeing the field.
Yeah.
So, like,
that's a fact. That's a whole fact.
I don't know, man. Like, both of you are right. Both of you are right. I can't argue that. But
I'm still mad about Earl Little. You know what I'm saying? Earl Little Jr. I'd wanted him to stay.
Hey, one of the funniest things I saw is that Bama sent spies to every team in the country. And they were like, we sent like 3 or 4 to FSU when one would have been good because they are just terrible. They are so bad. Guys, let's talk about LSU versus Bama. Truth was asking about LSU burning. Truth, the reason we've been saying LSU is burning is because... Lynn, this is actually a very good point. That is a very good point. Trying to keep Buford pipeline alive. That's a very, very good point. I didn't think about that. Coach Al saying, nope, we've moved on, not hating on him, but we've improved. Mincy moving there. Plus, I loved what Day did. Loved what he did. We're about to jump into that. But, Truth, if you're still in here, one of the reasons you've seen so many people saying LSU is burning is because there's a certain talking head. I'm not even going to give him the time of day by saying the name. But there's a certain talking head out there that it's one thing if you want to, like, throw dirt on Bama when Saban retired and be like, oh, they're going to lose games. Like, cool, you're going to give bulletin board material. It's another thing to just say outwardly wrong things in order to down kids to down a program. My big problem with this individual comes from the fact of whenever Bama flipped Key Russ from SMU, he was this guy works for ESPN. His little gremlins in the background gave him a piece of paper with the rankings. And they were like, oh, this kid's a 3-star. Bama's burning because they're flipping 3 stars from SMU. Per ESPN's own rankings, he was a top 100 player, number 4-star, and number 1 dual threat quarterback in the nation. There's not a ranking service at the time that had Key Russ as anything lower than number 150 in the nation. So the guy was straight up lying, trying to down a kid to say Bama's burning.
Yeah.
That's why I said the people that gave him that paper and were like fanning the flames, they're gremlins. Y'all aren't really trying to talk football. Y'all are trying to show everybody how little football you know so that way you can go viral. And how you got picked up by another organization is beyond me. But like I said, I think it's more profitable. My theory is I think it's more profitable for a lot of people, not your Josh Pates of the world. Josh talks ball. That's the gold standard. I think it's a lot more profitable for some of these podcasts and all that to get people who have no idea what they're talking about, who don't know football, because they're just going to say stupid shit to get clicks.
Yeah.
Because then it's going to get shared. Then people are going to go over there and it's like, oh, we got 10,000 hits on this video because I said that a football is a square. Right? Like that's really where I think we are in a lot of this content stuff. And I'm not saying I'm some football whiz. I don't know a lot. But that's why I surround myself with people who do know football so that way I can learn and we can have informed discussions. But this guy right here says all this stuff only for LSU to get bent over and absolutely blasted by Alabama.
That's some karma right there, man.
Bama had almost more rushing yards than LSU had total yards. LSU would have been held to about 200 and something yards had it not come on the last little bit whenever Bama had their second and third stringers in on defense. And this is something else, guys, that ticked me off. When I say LSU is burning, I'm not just throwing a shot at this guy because that was the title of my video earlier. I'm not just throwing a shot at him. I definitely am. But you had a coach who came out and was complaining. You did, LaToya. You did. Great call. You absolutely did. You absolutely 100% did. Did y'all hear what Coach Kelly said? Where he was like, "Oh, we're in the fourth quarter, you're up by 20 plus and you're blitzing us." Like, he was complaining that Alabama was still blitzing. And my thing is like, hey, if your first string quarterback is in the game, you have 30 seconds left on the clock, and you're throwing it into the end zone trying to get some consolation prize touchdown because you just got your ass kicked in this game and you want to make it not look as bad, and you're complaining that the other team's second string defense is blitzing you, pull out your quarterback. And people were like, oh, well, he's really talking about how Bama was blitzing to injure. Okay, if you're worried about that, pull out the quarterback.
Here we go again with that. That was last year too, remember?
If you're worried about that, pull out the guys. Am I crazy, or is football a game about one team trying to get into the end zone, which I have no problem with LSU throwing the ball in the end zone, even when it wouldn't matter? I have no problem with that. I would have done the same thing if I was LSU. You want to know why? Because I want to end the game on some sort of positive. Even if it doesn't matter, I want to get our guys reps in an environment that I can't replicate in practice. I don't have Alabama's players. This is a live game setting. I want these reps. I would have done exactly what Brian Kelly did. But likewise, if I'm Cam Womack, I'd have done exactly what he did. I'd have blitzed your ass. Am I crazy, or is football a game where one team is trying to score and the other team is trying to stop you from scoring? And it's not even that. I'm not a lip reader, but there's a clip where he is screaming at the refs and he says, they're blitzing 8 guys up 20. Then stop throwing the football. If you don't want Bama to hit your quarterback, take him out and run the football. Did you notice whenever Bama's second string got in on offense, they just ran the ball? You still couldn't stop it. Bama still ended up scoring. That's real sad. That's what you should be mad at. It's the same reason I always got so ticked off, guys, whenever the NFL guys were complaining that Cam Newton's dancing and it's disrespectful. That made me so mad, because you want to know the game Cam Newton didn't dance? Whenever they got beat in the Super Bowl by the Broncos. You don't like him dancing? Stop him. It's very simple. In fact, it's one of the most simple things in the world. You don't want him dancing? Stop him. This is one of the beautiful things about football. There's not too many other facets of sports or even life where you can physically impose your will. You don't like it? Stop it. So this whole thing has gotten me really fired up. The way Alabama won, seeing someone like that certain individual who just spewed nonsense, who kept trying to talk about how Bama's nothing, about how they're just flipping 3 stars. If Bama is burning and they're nothing, what does that make LSU? And you want to know the worst thing? After the game, he had the gall to say, oh, well, 9 out of 10 times this doesn't happen. It just happened this time. Hey, numbnuts, Bama has owned you in Baton Rouge. What do you mean 9 out of 10 times? 9 out of 10 times, that's exactly what happens. You get stomped in Baton Rouge. 9 out of 10 times, that doesn't happen. It's like, bro, do you not even watch the rivalry?
Facts.
Well, to be fair, I'm just gonna call him MM. To be fair to MM, he did say that, you know, Alabama beating LSU doesn't really mean anything. He talked about how Alabama burning. What he means by Alabama burning is that they'll never ever do something that Nick Saban's Saban did, which was winning those championships. He talked about how that he doesn't believe that Alabama's going to win another national championship, or if they do win another national championship, they'll probably win just one under Kalen DeBoer, and that's about it. And Alabama fans are going to do nothing but just complain and rant and just act like Kalen DeBoer is just going to be we're just going to drive him out there despite him not living up to the Nick Saban expectations. Again, doesn't really know this, but we have a statue of a head coach that has won national championship, and we have a statue of him literally right next, I believe, right next to Saban. So again, he got that wrong. He got that completely wrong. But again, my biggest issue with that particular statement, if that is true, which I don't believe, I think he's just simply moving the goalpost because he knows that Alabama simply is, even under Kelly and DeBoer, a better program than LSU, and he's pretty much been wrong about a lot of his recruiting takes. Because when you talk about burning something down, you're talking about a program not being successful anymore. You're talking about a program not finding a way to win a lot of football games, to have a program that can't recruit at a high level. You're talking about us I'll give Ryan Clark a lot of credit because at least he owned up to saying, you know what, I was wrong about Alabama. Alabama's a really good football team. They kicked our ass. There's nothing much I can say. Ryan Clark made a statement of saying that we're going to go back to winning 6 or 7 football games every single year. At least he was able to own up to it. What he was able to do, right? What he was able to do was that he was able to kind of backtrack from his statement and just continue to, switch up and change the goalposts over and over and over again. Now it's, oh, well, I didn't mean that Alabama is not going to win a bunch of football games because they'll win 8 or 9 games of football. They'll win like 9 or 10 games a year. They're just not going to win as many national championships or compete for those championships compared to Saban did. Well, no, I don't think any Alabama fan is expecting Kelly and DeBoer to even reach up to those heights. No one ever is going to reach up to those heights. And if there's any other coach that can do it, it's Kirby Smart. And we're watching Kirby Smart right now. He is struggling right now. So no one's expecting Kelly and DeBoer to reach up to those expectations. We are expecting Kelly and DeBoer at some point to get this team to compete for a national championship and hopefully get a national championship. That's what we're expecting Kelly and DeBoer to do because Kelly and DeBoer has already competed for a national championship. Kelly and DeBoer has already rebuilded a program and made them a national championship contender. So yeah, our expectations are high because not because of what Kelly and DeBoer, or not because of the reputation of Alabama. Our expectations are high because his bar is high. Coming into the job, the bar was high. So again, he's not the only one. You got to hope. Again, he's just the most notable one because he was the loudest person in the room, and but. It is what it is. He's going to continue to change the goalposts. Alabama will win a national championship, and then the meaning of burning will continue to change up. So, it is what it is. I know a lot of Alabama fans, including me, we stopped by just to hear what he had to say, and that's exactly what. Again, it's entertainment. They had 5K watchers. It's live entertainment. There's no personal thing going on. But his statements about, like you said about Ty, about recruiting, about how we couldn't recruit at a high level, how that was going to burn down. Funny how he didn't bring that up when somebody questioned his definition, because that was a part of burning, about us not being able to recruit at a high level. And we lost to Vanderbilt, but we also, again, the team that lost to Vanderbilt put 42 points in Baton Rouge, and one of the worst losses, by the way, in LSU history. So it is what it is.
And listen, I'm not saying the Vandy loss is good. It's not. You need to beat Vandy has proved to give it a lot of teams trouble. They've been close in every game except South Carolina. South Carolina beat the brakes off of them. But Vandy played Texas really well. And I do think this is a really good Texas team. I've said this. I think they're a really darn good team. Vandy's a good team. Vandy's a solid team. Now, that's not to excuse the loss. It is a loss you can't take. Unfortunately, you have it. It is what it is. Benji, can't happen 3 times in a row, right? Right? Hey, for my sake, I hope so. For your sake, you hope not. But that would be an unbelievable game. An unbelievable game. No doubt about it. Guys, as we're talking Bama, I did want to get your opinions. Jance, I want to stay with you. And then we'll go you, Coach Carl Brinsky, Coach Sean. Q Rob out for the season at Wolf. So this means Rousseau's going to step up. Yonze Pierre's going to step up. And you might see a guy like Noah Carter. However, guys, there is another scenario. I put your comment up, Boomer. I would like to win 6 or 7 games. That was a good one. I liked that. I liked that a lot. Not ignoring you. There is another scenario. What do y'all think about the packages that we have seen with Jahad Campbell rushing the passer and Deontay Lawson and Justin Jefferson there? I'm not saying do that full time. Because I think Campbell's so valuable at playing linebacker. But he's proven to be a force everywhere you put it. Jance, what's your thoughts about that?
No, it's not that bad of an idea, especially in third down situations where you can use Justin Jefferson's speed for his ability to kind of cover the field. Especially his ability to kind of drop back extremely quickly. I think he's got some good instincts. Justin Jefferson does have, and a matter of fact, we actually do have packages with Justin Jefferson in for third down situations where we do trust him to be in those passing situations. I just don't trust Justin Jefferson against the run. Again, I think that he's a little bit too small. I think his arms are a little bit too short. So he's not so again, if you go against other guys that are able to kind of get that length size and are able to kind of get within those pads inside of him, I don't know if he's going to have the ability to really, disengage, quite as frequently compared to a Campbell. Again, he's fast and he's short, so he can get underneath certain blockers, but he's not the strongest guy in the world, right? He's not the strongest guy in the world. He's a guy that pretty much, you want to take his speed and you want to take his speed. He reminds me a lot, if you're a Bills fan, you know what I'm talking about. He reminds me a lot of Dorian Williams, right? In terms of a very fast player. Now he's phenomenal. He's really good against the run. He can stuff out. He can use his natural instincts and speed to attack the ball. I don't know if Justin Jefferson is that caliber of player. I think he's a rangy linebacker that if we're going against teams that prioritize the run and blockers that can get a hat on you, I don't know if he's that caliber player that's going to be as physical enough to kind of get nasty inside of there. So that's kind of the thing is what situations are you willing to kind of utilize that package with Campbell rushing? Because we did, Campbell was rushing, and Campbell, and Jahad Campbell beat Will Campbell a few times actually, so Campbell's a freak. He reminds me a lot of Rashaan Evans. I don't think he's as good as Rashaan Evans, but I think his upside, at least compared to what Rashaan Evans was able to develop into, is nice. I actually think Campbell should come back another year because he is still raw playing as an off-ball linebacker. He's very raw. I think he should come back one more year. I think he could become what Rashaan Evans was in 2017. But no, I mean, I would say this, is that you have a lot of guys that you can utilize to be playing as the edge. I mean, you got Quay Rousseau. I mean, Keon Kelly. I mean, Keon Kelly. I mean, what's going on with him? What's
he's suspended.
Oh well, there it is, right there. That's crazy. But no, you have a Yanze Pierre. You have a Noah Carter. Shout out to Miss Carter. And you have you got a lot of assets. You got a lot of assets and a lot of athleticism there. But losing Q sucks, man. That's your best edge rusher. That is your best edge rusher. A guy that can be disruptive, guy that can, again, he's not going to put up the huge sack numbers, but man, what he can do in terms of forcing a quarterback to kind of climb up the pocket, especially if he can have a really good interior rush, man. Q caused a lot of sacks. He caused a lot of sacks. Like I said, he doesn't have the highest stat number, but man, he caused a lot of sacks just because he was just screaming off the edge and was able to kind of put on a lot of pressure and force these quarterbacks to step up inside, and so for that interior rush or other guys were able to kind of go up there and clean up. That sucks that you lose him. But Campbell, I thought Campbell did a really good job against Will Campbell whenever they were matched up together, and we'll see what kind of happens there.
Yeah, and just because Gelato, you were talking about Keanu Coat, right? Coot, you were asking where is he at, Jance?
Oh, I was talking about Keeley, but yeah.
Keanu okay, then that's my fault. I thought you said Keanu Coot. He's suspended. Keeley's not. That's my mistake. Okay. That's my mistake, Gelato. That's okay. You're 100% right, Gelato. That's my bad. I misheard. No, that's. I think you have options, but it does suck because Q-Rob, and I talked about this in my video earlier. The growth we have seen from Q-Rob this year has been awesome to watch. I mean, just awesome to watch. That's what this is all about, right? A talented player who has ability, but really put it together in the off season, and especially as the season went on. I've had so much fun watching him play football. I wish him a speedy recovery. Certainly will be praying for him, but he was a force on that Wolf. I mean, he was awesome. Just an awesome force for that Bama defensive front. But now it's time for guys like Rousseau, for Pierre, possibly Noah Carter, right? Possibly time for a Noah Carter. And I do think we might see a few more packages with 11 at Wolf. Maybe even against Mercer, we might see that at a higher rate because of the offense they run, allow that speed to really take advantage. We'll see. Coach Carl, what's your thoughts on that? And the LSU game in general. We're talking it all right now.
So what y'all fail to realize about that putting 11 at Wolf, right, is that 11's backup is Jeremiah Alexander.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Jeremiah Alexander.
So once you put him at the edge and let him rush, you still have the backups guys that come behind him. They're pretty much not all the way ready. But
they did a package this weekend multiple times, and they've done it throughout the season where it's 15, 0, and 11 at Wolf.
Yeah, but 15 is more that speed guy for pass sets. But you talking about from the run game perspective, if 11 is at Wolf, you're gonna put 35 in at that off linebacker. You'll have 0 and 35 side by side, and 11 at the edge rushing. And then when it comes down to pass pro, you'll see 15 in the game. Other than that, I don't really have no issue, man. I mean, Keon Key is a little slow come out the end, but he's big and he's strong. I put Noah Carter in there. Noah Carter slim, fast, and get out the ball a little bit. He's just a little bit, may not be a little bit ahead of most people in the progression part of the defense, but you still have Yonsei Pierre fast off the edge. You can switch right Clay Rousseau and put him on one side and put Pierre on the other side. It really don't matter how you do it. Either way it goes, man, they got so much talent on that team that it really, Q Rob is a big hit because of the plays he makes, but there's still guys behind him that probably think that they better than him and wishing they had the opportunity that he had. And now they get the opportunity to show whether they're going to be good enough to play that position or not. So, I mean, I wish him a speedy recovery, Q Rob and all that. But it's like I said, man, it's next man up. So, I mean, these guys get NIL deals for a reason. So, get your NIL money, throw your ass up on the field, step up, make plays. You can't make plays, somebody behind you probably can, and they can't, but you keep on finding rotation until we find the right people that can get in there and make plays. Somebody going to want to make some damn plays. Somebody going to want to earn more time. Somebody going to want to earn bigger damn NIL money. So, let's just go for it, man. Let's see how it goes. In the LSU game, hey, man, y'all already know the only team I hate to lose to more than I hate to lose to Auburn, LSU. So I'm cool. Fuck the Bayou Putty Cats. I'm ready to go. I ain't got nothing to say about it no more. Send their dirty asses back down there with their loud, drunk, obnoxious asses, leaving right down there in that damn stinking ass damn state with all those damn vicious animals. You know, Baton Rouge and with all those vicious people around the damn neighborhood, surrounded by criminals. I mean, well, justice impacted people. It's a lot of bad folks in Baton Rouge, man. So it's good for the good for their asses, man. Like
I thought Coach J was gonna rent. I
wish we had to beat their asses down worse. I mean, I hated that we gave up that damn touchdown with our second and third string team to their star in offense, but they were celebrating that shit. And I hated that with their pathetic asses, man. Like, I can't stand no Bayou Putty Cats. And they had a live tiger for the damn stadium. They should have taken that damn tiger out of captivity. That's cruelty to animals, man. That's stupid ass
Yep. Locked up in that cage, man.
Cruelty to damn animal. And then they got all that crap to say about us. Old Matt M. stinking ass probably don't even damn shower and clean water. He probably one of those damn stinking ass damn swamp people.
Just for the record, look, just for the record, Coach Al can't stand LSU either. Shout to my
I can't stand them either.
Stand their ass, man.
They play boozy all the time. And it's like, come on, man. Like I understand.
And they always complain when you get your ass whooped, you go to complaining. Why Brian Kelly complaining to the referee because you getting your ass whooped? Your quarterback just got sacked. What the hell you complaining about? You got
That's
sacked?
why
Oh,
I
they
don't like.
sacked them too hard. Man, get the fuck out of here! You
Yeah, that's
sacked
why.
him too hard. Get that soft ass quarterback out of the damn team. That's why damn Texas A&M ran through their ass like it was damn shit for them on Super Bowl. That all that dirty, man. I'm telling you, man, they need to stop drinking. They need to build some more bridges to get through their regular ass city. I mean, you ever been to Louisiana? They got bridges all the way through the damn state because the damn ground so ragged and so ugly. They don't even want to touch the damn roads, man.
Shit show. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Anybody lives in Baton Rouge, I apologize. Baton Rouge is a shit show, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know, man. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Louisiana people. I just had to say it. But
it's
they build bridges through that whole goddamn state, man. So you won't touch that ragged ass shit. So
yeah,
exactly.
I never felt so safe going to a campus like until I went to Baton Rouge, man. I mean, literally, if the hood is like right there,
right?
The gas station where everybody, one of those infamous gas stations, probably in America, is right across the street from the damn campus.
I'm telling you, when I
was there, it was a marathon. It was a marathon.
When they do all these damn hood virus and stuff like that in Baton Rouge, it's right there beside the campus. Like they stand at the gas station, they got 4,000 damn machine guns standing outside the campus. Everybody sitting around the campus, surrounded by the campus with machine guns.
These tours,
and then
all
you
these
talking
tours
about,
getting robbed.
I see why they call this the damn Death Valley. Yeah, it is Death Valley. Walk your ass outside that stadium, you gonna take a chance, damn it. You got a chance of death outside that stadium. Outside that campus, it is Death Valley. And I really appreciate the name LSU. It is Death Damn Valley. That's why I don't know about that to go down there.
My word.
Yep. America. See, this is how you know, man. This is true America. I mean, millionaires living on the campus, and literally right around the entire Baton Rouge campus is the projects. Is the projects. Is where the shootings be happening, where these gang activities be happening. I'm like, how do you allow this? All these robberies be going on right on I forgot the gas station name, but right on that gas station, it's right there, the corner stores. How the hell are you allowing this to happen? Like I don't understand. You got hundreds of thousands of people visiting every single year just to check out the university, which, by the way, I mean, listen, their parties are awesome. The tailgates are awesome. You got these sororities and fraternities like AKs and Deltas and Omegas and Alphas, and they're all coming out, and the food is excellent. But oh my goodness gracious, you go within 5 miles away from that campus, man. You better be packing something. You better be protecting yourself, man.
Shit, you better be with Lil Boosie. If you ain't with Lil Boosie, your ass in trouble. It going blazing in Baton Rouge. I'm telling you, man, I used to deliver down there. I had on my Alabama shirt, my Alabama hat. Boy, I walked inside there and played that man. Told me, you don't get your ass out of here with that shit on. We don't accept those people down here. Like, what are you talking about? You got to get out of here. They literally had to go change clothes, unload product that they bought. They don't even want your Alabama ass in there delivering their product. So they real different on there. That's why I really can't stand them. Like, you want to hold me up for making up money because you don't like Alabama, because Alabama keep kicking your ass. Just like Ty said, how many times have Alabama whooped your ass in Louisiana? You ain't won but one time. That's the last goddamn cheating game. You cheated us down there with Jaden Daniel. And you hadn't cheated us with that, with the boy stepping out of bounds, catching the ball. You wouldn't have won that game. So shit, we whooping your ass all the damn time. All the time you beat up when you cheated with Joe Burrow and when you cheated with damn Jaden Daniel. And if Donald Trump hadn't showed up in Tuscaloosa, I don't believe your ass would have won that. So let's just get it true. Because Tua was on one leg and Donald Trump came in and stood up the crowd, and the damn Alabama team got all the wins sucked out of Alabama football players when they stood up and started cheering for Trump. Like all those kids just dropped their head because they didn't want to see it. And then when they realized here they were down 20 damn points, and they're like, oh shit, now we're gonna turn up the throw juice, and came back and started playing. But LSU was too hot, and they were just in their feeling at that point. And Joe Burrow was in his bag, so they gave a little too much, and the boy good. And I can't take that from him. He good. He real good. But they had a pro football team, and they still barely could beat us in Tuscaloosa. So good luck, man, with that regular ass state down there. Good luck with that Bayou Putty Cat team. And every time I see y'all, I always call y'all the Putty Cats. I ain't gonna never call y'all no damn Tiger. Y'all the Bayou Pussy Cats. And I want to be plain. I say Putty because I don't want little kids to hear me call y'all
it's the
Pussy
Puddle
Cats.
Kittens. It's not even the Bayou Bengals. It's the Puddle Kittens.
Puddle Kitten, whatever you want to call them. The Puddle Kittens, the Rain Cats or whatever, just like Auburn over there with all those different mascots.
Yeah, I don't know. I never understood
I
that.
don't get you, man. I don't get you. Y'all just cruelty to animal people down there. At least most colleges got fake animals, so y'all got real animals down there in damn cages. So y'all, somebody call Peter on those cats. That's what you need to do. Call Peter on them. Start calling Peter on the people wearing furs. Call Peter on LSU and Auburn with the damn eagle tied around the damn string. Just call them on them people real quick. Please call them, man. Somebody call Peter.
My word. Well, I think it's safe to say Coach Carl does not like LSU. But I want to hit this real fast. Lynn Shaney felt with a $25 super chat. Thank you very much, Lynn. He says, man, it felt so good to see Bama wear them crimson jerseys into Tiger Stadium and lay the smack down on that LSU Tiger ass. Embarrassing LSU at home is always good. Bama fans, we own the stadium after the clowns threw bottles. And one of the more obvious face mask calls I've seen, by the way. And there are LSU people online right now arguing that that wasn't the face mask as the dude's hands went right there and you saw Jalen's head turn. Was it the worst face mask I've ever seen? No, it wasn't. I grant you that. But it was, by definition, a face mask, zero debating it. And if we want to get real specific, Coach Carl, the game Bama lost with Tua, LSU got away with one of the most egregious face masks I remember on Jalen Waddle's punt return. Grabbed him, spun his head around, no call, and then he returned it for a touchdown. Nothing. That was a face mask, though. Like the one on Jalen Milroe, it was as clear as day a face mask. I will meet you halfway into saying it's not the most egregious face mask I've ever seen. In fact, in terms of face mask, it was a pretty non-egregious one. But there's zero debate that it was a face mask. That's not even an argument. You're 100% right, Lynn. And they started throwing stuff on the field because a clear as day face mask. Hey, I wish Bama would have scored more. I don't know if y'all saw me tweeting, but I was on one on Twitter that night. When Bama scored, when they got to 40, I was tweeting, my word. Hey, that's one way to add some sauce on it.
That's that Tiger.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. When Bama scored to get to 40, I was tweeting that let's onside kick it, recover the onside kick, and let Ty Simpson take shots into the end zone. I wanted more. I wanted way more. Goose with the $9.99 saying shout out to Coach Carl. Yeah, that was
if it wasn't raining, oh my Lord, we would have beat the Bayou Putty Cat to death. It was nothing that they could have done but complain. Brian Kelly, that is the most complaining. I see why they let his ass leave. He complained like hell. Like you taking my ass over and then you start complaining.
This man is the most overrated coach in the nation. I was like, what has he done? So when I see rankings before the season, you have him number 2 in the SEC. Like, what has he done to even be that high in the SEC? Like, he's one of the top coaches in the nation. Like, why would you want to send your child down there to go play for this guy?
Because he had Jaden Daniels, and Jaden Daniels turned out to be a stud. And now, all that nonsense that Jaden Daniels made that guy look like a damn genius, man. That guy is terrible.
Man, these LSU coaches when these LSU coaches hit their wall,
they hit it hard.
Badly. Just look at the trend. Look at all of them from Les Miles to Coach O. And it's going to be Brian Kelly. I don't see Brian Kelly being there in the next 2 years. I really don't.
If that's the production you're getting at quarterback, at coach, why the hell did they let Ogeron leave? Ogeron from right down behind the school, he stayed right there off the bridge right there, I-12. He stayed right down
there's
there
a
on
lot
the
of
I-12,
reasons
right?
they let.
Oh yeah, I
Ogeron
forgot.
leave.
I forgot. Yeah. I forgot about that.
There's a lot of reasons they let him leave.
It don't matter, but if you gonna get that pathetic as a coach, you could have kept Ogeron. Like he from the Bayou.
I'm not gonna lie.
Right there.
I think that I'm gonna go ahead and say it. Ogeron is the biggest fraud to win a national championship as a head coach. That guy can't coach his way out of kindergarten.
It don't matter. It don't matter. He did put coaching staff around him that got him a championship.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Rifky, talk to me about this game.
Oh, my fault. I was about to say, what is not to love about this game, man? Jalen showed out. Of course, we got this rain. And I said one of the keys in this game is to just run the ball more. I just wanted to see the guys run the ball more. We definitely got that, of course. I think just because it was raining. But hopefully these guys can watch the tape and like, you see what happened when we run the ball just a little bit more. We ain't got to depend on trying to pass the ball all over the field, trying to give Ryan about 35 targets a game. No, my fault. In the first half, we can just easily just run the ball. And I don't think a lot of people giving Kane Womack the flowers that he deserved because what he's doing compared to where I think ever since that second half of that Georgia game, leading all the way probably to that Missouri game, he's been having a hard time. Not at the end of that South Carolina game, he's been having a hard time. But since that Missouri game and this game, especially if you give him time to prepare, I think they seen what happened with Jordan. They did not want to let up on the gas. That's why we kept seeing all those blitzes keep going at him, which I don't understand why Brian Kelly always complained right next to that overrated coach down the road called Hugh Freeze with their 35 mascots. But, man, I just loved everything about it. The O-line is just playing. They played great this game. And what you guys were talking about earlier with the blocking scheme, you guys been talking about that, and clearly they've been listening to you guys. Even I learned a lot from about blocking when it came to you guys. And I see it on the field. I'm like, oh, wow, they really doing that for real. So, man, I loved everything about it, even though it was a hard time this weekend watching it. Because it was our homecoming, but I stopped everything what I was doing to go watch this game. I do it every time because it just seemed like every time it's in November, they always scheduled on the same day as Alabama and LSU. So I have to go somewhere and watch the game in peace. And then I go back outside. So clearly I drank a lot that night and stayed out till like 5 a.m. So I celebrated really hard.
Shout out to you.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to Tuskegee University. Even though we all up on every news cycle in the world right now for all the wrong reasons. But yeah, man, they Kane Womack deserves a lot of credit. The offensive line deserves a lot of credit. Who else playing? Damani locking up Lacey was just beautiful. And I love after like that first pass, they was face to face. They're like, oh, this is gonna be a long night for you, which it was. And some LSU fans thinking that, oh, well, Lacey had 80-something yards and a touchdown, which none of those were on Damani Jackson.
Damani had him in hell.
It's a fact.
And had that man in a straitjacket. So I loved everything about the game. The linebackers came to play. If we play like how we played in LSU, I believe we can win a national championship game. But we got a long way to go.
Long way to go and some great teams ahead to get there. It's going to be a lot of fun. Coach Sean, bring us home, man. What were your thoughts with this Bama LSU game?
My thoughts really quickly. As far as Q-Rob. I think Quay Russo is going to step up. My thing with Quay is he's young. He don't bend as well as Yanze Pierre. Yanze is a better pass rusher to me at this point, but Quay played the run way, way, way better. Like it's not even close when you're talking about playing the run. I think Yanze, number 42, is a better bender, coming around the edge. I think Yanze gonna get some burn too. But I think Quay is miles ahead of him in playing the run. So I think those two kids will step up and play with Keanu being suspended. I think once Keanu come back, depending on his disciplinary actions or whatever he's suspended for, I think that he will be definitely in the mix. As far as the actual game itself, I was very happy with the money. I remember Ty told me how fast this kid was. I went and looked, and he was super fast to run that running back. Ty had previously told me how fast the kid was, the running back. So for the money to run him down like that, not at that angle, but the money was coming from the other side and running beside him and really hawked him down. That tell you how fast Money Jackson is. Um, Played great leverage, played absolutely outstanding at the corner. Money is getting better. That's how you know when a kid is really talented. He's getting better and better every week, right? He's starting to be more vocal. That kid is going to be Money is going to play himself into a draft pick, man. It's sort of a bittersweet thing because you hate for him to come play 1 year and leave. But Money, if he keeps playing the way he's playing, he's going to play himself into a very good high draft pick. What can you say about the defensive effort? I think the defense is just getting better and better. Offensively, I think we're just doing what needs to be done. Shout out to Jalen Milroe, who he took what LSU gave him. Can't complain about nothing in that football game. As far as double M go, I mean, this guy clearly don't know nothing about football. He clearly don't. It's just like what Ty said. It's one of those situations to where the more ridiculous things you say, how many clicks can I get? Who gives a damn if it's not accurate, right? The more ridiculous stuff I can say, the more people will stop and be like, what is he talking about? And click on it and listen to it. So when it comes to football terminology, I don't listen to him. I did tune into him that night and he was trying to play it off, laughing, ha ha ha, like everything was cool, like he was. But really, I know inside you was dying, straight dying. You was playing it off with that laughing. I give much love to his counterpart, T. Bob Abear, who I listen to, who I think T. Bob is one of the most intellectual, funny cats out there. I would tell anybody to listen to that guy because he keep it real. He'll drop some profanities in the most
I like
humorous
T-Bob.
way. Yeah, I like T-Bob a lot, man. That dude is definitely someone who I suggest you listen to. I as far as LSU go, I know personally how it is down there. Uh, we got our car urinated on. Um, I've told that story several times. Yeah, they peed on our car down there, bro. Come back a big line going down the car with the Bama flags. We had bent window off track. It just I was gonna have to squabble up in the stadium. It was just crazy, man. I told myself I won't come back down here unless we got some nice heavy protection, if you know what I'm saying. It's like that down there. Like no joke, it's like that. It reminds me of honestly, it reminds me of USC. A lot of people don't know that because LA is beautiful, but USC, right across the street from USC, is 37th Drive in Vermont, where the Fruit Town Brim Bloods be. And it's right on the campus practically. So if you come off USC campus on that side, gas station, it's the exact same, man. So it's a great win, man. Somebody got to step up for Q Rob. Quay Russo has got to step up and hone his pass rushing abilities. He needs a backup. He got to have a breather. Yanze Pierre. They may even pull the red shirt off Noah. Who knows? Depending on Keanu Coit's suspension and how long. If it's a short suspension, grades, little drug test, whatever. I don't know what it is. If it's a short suspension, I'm sure they'll keep the red shirt on Noah. But if it's a long suspension, they may pull that off of him, man. As far as really quickly, Jihad playing the Wolf, I have no problem with it, as long as we can provide us some pass rush. Going on the road to Oklahoma, we know Oklahoma's struggling. We need pass rush, man. For this defense to work properly, we need pass rush in this defense. And finally, shout out to the whole team, man. These guys done a great job. Dominating LSU like that was awesome. And what can you say, man? On to the next, on to Mercer, who's pretty damn good. Who's don't look over Mercer. I think they're in the running for their conference championship. And pay no mind to all the Bama haters, man. They're hating us because they're shocked that we're still doing the things that we left off doing. Thank you to Ty I think I speak for all our fellas on here when I say thank you to the brother Ty for letting us be on his show. All my brothers on the panel, man, Coach Jay, Brinsky, all the homies out there, man. We really appreciate y'all, man. Everybody who tap in, man. You guys are awesome, dude. You guys are freaking awesome. And on to the next one, man. We got 2 SEC games left. Really pay attention to that Tennessee-Georgia game and that Arkansas-Texas game.
Yeah, great
Very
games.
important games. Nicole,
Great games. I have nothing to add. Bama absolutely dominated LSU. I've seen some people say, oh, well, what about the passing game? It was raining, and what I loved is everybody is mad whenever Jalen tries to take the deep shot, and they're equally mad when he takes what the defense gives him. Right? That's exactly what he did against LSU. The defense, he took what the defense gave him. He read the defense. He made the right reads. Love it. Absolutely love it. And if they can't stop you running the football, I'm not going to throw it. I'm just going to run it down your throat. And that's exactly what they did. So, love what we saw. Guys, we've been on for 2 hours, 15 minutes. Monday Night Football is on. I want to let the people go enjoy their Monday evening, get ready for tomorrow. But I hope you all had a great weekend. I hope you enjoyed your start of the week. As always, at the end of this, we go around the table and let everybody know where you can find all of these guys' great content. Coach Sean, I'm going to start with you.
You can definitely find me at JMHO. I appreciate everybody tapping in with me, man. You help me run the numbers up. Please help me get to 1,000. The Twitter popping. Thank you. JMHO Sports Talk on Twitter and YouTube.
Love it. Jance.
Yeah, Jant716 on Twitter, Jant Sports on YouTube as always. And I kind of want to say this. I want to say this first. I think someone brought it up, and it just kind of reminded me to kind of bring this up real quick. Ohio State fans, mind your own damn business. I can't stand y'all. Mind your own damn business. You got Ohio State fans, sidelines, and all these fans keep running, ranting, and complaining because we play an 8-game conference schedule, talking about why does Alabama get to play Mercer. And why does the SC kind of get away with? Okay, so Ohio State, let me ask you a question. Why is your schedule so goddamn weak? Why do you have the 25th ranked schedule in the country while we have the 11th ranked schedule in the country? Why do you have to play against Marshall and who else? Marshall and UTEP. You played against 4 of the worst teams in the country. You do realize, Ohio State fans, that Mercer is ranked higher than all 4 schools that you played in September? Why do you get to play those cupcakes in September and October, but then give us a hard time for playing against? And then everybody would say, well, because why are you playing a school like that in November? Same reason why you're playing cupcakes in the first 4 weeks, and why we have one of the toughest schedules consistently every single year within the first couple of months. So don't be coming up here and complaining about us. Because let me tell you something, the SEC has been playing against these teams for years, for decades. No one complains about Clemson playing against Citadel. No one ever complains about the Pac-12 and what they're doing right now, but for years. But for some reason, when it comes to and it's always the University of Alabama. They never do it with Georgia. They never do it with Florida. They never do it with Tennessee. They always have to do it with Alabama. We always have to be the ones that are mentioned. I had an Ohio State fan literally come up to me and say, a friend of mine, shout to my boy Buckeye.
Recording in progress.
Buckeye always said, you know what, Jared, why do you hate Ohio State? Because you MOs are always lazy. Or I'm sorry, not lazy. Well, they're lazy as well because they, instead of complaining to us, they won't fix their solution, including beating Michigan. But you MFs are always nosy. You won't mind your own damn business. You're always poking in someone else's business instead of handling your own business. You copied our formula, to quote the great Tupac, you stole our flow, or AKA, you copied our style, and you only won one national championship because you won one national championship. Urban Meyer copied our flow after what he saw us in that tunnel beat the absolute dog crap of Notre Dame before we got on the damn field. And all of a sudden, Ohio State copies our formula in terms of recruiting the type of players that they want to recruit. And all you did was win one national championship. So instead of mouthing off and asking us, why the hell are we playing Mercer? How about you handle your business? How about you beat Indiana in a couple weeks? How about you beat Michigan for the first time in 3 years? How about you beat Oregon? Because how about you beat Oregon, a newcomer in the Big Ten Conference, to beat Oregon for a Big Ten championship? How about you actually go out there and do something that you haven't done since 2014, and that's actually win a national championship? How about you not get blown out by Iowa by 30 points? How about you not get blown out by Purdue by 30 points, right? How about you not lose to these nonsensical games? How about you actually the expectation of a $20 million roster that you decided to spend upon it, and then all of a sudden you have these writers like Joe Klatt continue to defend you where you deflect? How about you mind your own damn business and actually do something that you haven't done and get Ryan Day a potential national championship instead of blaming him all the damn time for your miscues? All those NFL draft picks, all this talk about receiver U, which, by the way, for some reason, that's something that they're proud of. But they're never ever proud of about RBU, about LBU, about all these other positions. But receiver U is the one thing that they continue to mention that they're proud of, which, by the way, I think LSU this year has shown that they are that claim. Ohio State fans, let me tell you something, man. They are really starting to get on my damn nerves. I hate Auburn fans. I hate Tennessee fans. I hate LSU fans. But Ohio State fans piss me. Outside of the SEC, there is not one team I want to lose and just see that program get dismantled than Ohio State. They think that they're Bama. They think that they're Georgia, but they're not. And the crazy part is that they play in a softer conference, but yet again, Ohio State, they are a program that continues to try to they're that bully. They're that one kid in the back of the class that's always throwing the snap pack against the wall just to get a damn some damn attention. I am sick and tired of Ohio State fans in general. They think that they're the big bad bullies, but once someone actually pops them in the damn mouth, they hide. They hide in their damn shells until the next season, and then they're gonna sit up there and say, "Oh, well, you know what? We're gonna smack y'all. We're gonna go ahead and win a national championship." It's the same crap over and over again. Underachievers that think that there's something. Mind your own damn business and actually handle your work. And trust me, we got a playoff. We'll see y'all in the damn playoff. I'm sorry, Ty. I'm sorry I had to go on that damn rant. I'm sorry. I'm just tired of Ohio State fans thinking that they're just something that they're not. Listen, I'll give Tennessee fans, LSU fans, and Auburn fans credit. I have not seen them talk as much crap about Alabama compared to Ohio State. And you know what? I just had to embarrass that because their media is talking about it. Their fans, sideline, Barstool. I'm so sick and tired of these buck nuts. So tired of them.
Look, Coach Jay. And for those whose math is bad, Coach Jay said they hadn't won since 2014. That means the freshman on all our teams was 8 years old the last time they won a championship.
You ain't got to apologize to me. Goose gave you that $9.99 saying Coach Jant's getting crunk. Love it. You ain't got to apologize to me. When you're right, you're right.
8 years old.
But aside from that rant, let them know where they can hear more rants, Jants.
Oh, yeah, on Jant Sports on YouTube. You know, I'm about to start. Let Indiana beat Ohio State. Watch what's about to happen. Watch what's about to happen. I got the Romeo Santos. I got the Ventura. I got it going. I'm telling you, watch what happens. I cannot stand Ohio State. All those players that they have, and again, I give Georgia a lot of credit. Georgia's got the talent, but at least they got the coaching right beside it to bring the best out those players and continuously compete for national championships. Ohio State can't even do that on a consistent basis. And besides Bama, they probably had the second most talented roster ever assembled for the last 15 years, and they can't do shit with it. They couldn't do nothing with it besides beating us, right? They beat us, and then they beat Oregon for the national championship. Give kudos to them. And then they get blown out by us by 30 points. And then they want to sit up and say, well, it's the COVID championship. But yet I remember the time when a crap ton of Ohio State fans came on my live
6
stream
games
saying
enough. 6 games enough.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Can't stand them. I cannot stand Ohio State fans.
I love it. Brinsky, did you already tell the people where they can find your great content?
No, I did not. I was enjoying this amazing rant. But y'all can find me at the Sharpshooters Podcast on YouTube. Y'all go on over there and subscribe to the channel. It's right there in the chat as always. What I was about to say. You can find me on Twitter /X at B_Sharp. Also, shout out to the greatest university ever, Tuskegee University. Rest in peace to the young man that was tragically killed on campus this weekend. So if you've seen us all over your news sites, we're sorry about that. We wanted to be on everybody's news sites for a good reason, but not this reason. But shout out to us. Y'all already know.
Shout out to you.
Coach Carl, let the people know where they can find all your great stuff, as my dog is she's causing a ruckus over here. I don't know if you've noticed everything shake a few times, but she is unhappy right now.
Oh yeah, man. You can find me on Twitter at Coach KD Taylor, or you can find me on YouTube at On the Block Sport Talk with Coach Carl. My football season finally over, so I'm thinking about going ahead and get some content together and start dropping it. So I appreciate y'all, man. Y'all like and subscribe, man. Give me a few subs, man. I need to be on my channel. So go on over there, like Brent said, subscribe to the channel. Let me build up.
Oh, mic cut out there, Coach.
Yeah, my bad, man. I got my class going on in the background, so every time later talks, you say so. So it's just killing me. I'm a college student, so I still got to have that stuff going on. So. Yeah, man, y'all go ahead, y'all like me, y'all subscribe. I did drop a few videos that y'all can go check out, and y'all can go check out some of the live streams that we go through with these guys. I appreciate the time. I appreciate the coach, Sean. Hey, man, y'all tap in with Brinsky, man. I watch one of Brinsky lives, man. Brinsky go hard, man.
Hard.
Tap in and Brinsky
Yes,
go hard on his lives, man. Y'all check in with him. My boy be going hard, man.
I appreciate that, man.
Appreciate it. Appreciate Goose for the $4.99 saying epic show. Thank you to everybody who is here this evening. I'm going to finish this out with what I always say. The two most valuable things you have in life are time and health. And you give us your time, and it means the world to all of us here on the panel, and especially you guys who join me on this panel every Monday and Friday night. The show is nothing without y'all, and I'm just very thankful to be able to share a space with all of you to talk football and to have some fun. But now it's time for the 6th member of the panel to say their word. And happy Veterans Day, by the way. And what class is it, Coach Carl? That's awesome.
This is psychology and law enforcement. So right now, I'm in psychology and law enforcement. I got 6 classes left, and I'll be done with my bachelor's degree. And then I go into law school.
Love it. Love it. That's awesome. That's awesome. Love to hear it. Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of the evening. Janet, you already know what's coming. It's time for the spinning wheel of doom.
Roll Tide.
And it spins.